Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 102nd CAF update. It's great to have you here. Two more shows, and we'll have actually made it to our second anniversary of doing this thing. I even went back and confirmed one was the first CAF update, and I believe it was on July 26th of 2020. So, of course, those first two or three episodes were all pre-recorded things, but we're doing them a little differently nowadays. And sorry, I left my phone on there. But you know how it goes. It's all good. So I've been very busy. I'm coming in hot. You see, I literally got a shower 30 minutes ago. It's been a busy day around here. I've almost finished painting the walls in the office so that it's nice and clean and ready to be sold, hopefully within the next 6 weeks. So I've been preoccupied, and I still have packing to do. I picked up the U-Haul today. I'm going to be driving down on Saturday and Sunday by myself to Florida to unload and get the second trip out of the way. We've got one more trip to go after the house sells. So what do we got there? Chuck's asking about going to Columbus. Chuck, I hope you do come to Columbus. Chuck, I actually found a couple things I'm going to give you if you come to Columbus. It's like a giveaway, something I know that you'll appreciate. I was looking at it and thinking I could give that to Anthony to sell, and I thought, no, Chuck would be the better person to have that one. So I'm going to have my trucker hat on, Jeff. That's for sure. So I'm coming in hot. I've got kind of a messy schedule of things to talk about tonight, but all in all, just want to let you know that everything's been going really well. We had a great conversation on Tuesday with Dave Mandel. If you didn't see it, you definitely should go back and tune into that. It was great. It was probably everything I would have hoped it would have been, and I think I could talk to Dave many times, just about anything. I could have him on for an hour. Now I know Felix does those shows with him as well, because he's very knowledgeable, very entertaining, and full of good information. So I'll talk to Dave probably in San Diego and just see if we can't at least do something every quarter. It would be fun. I'd like to talk with him more. And like I mentioned when I talked with him, for as long as I've known him, we really never talked. The only time I spoke to him was really about 10 years ago when I was looking to buy some Frank Miller Daredevil and John Byrne X-Men pages. And I wimped out when he told me what the prices were on them. And I shouldn't have. You think about it now. I remember, and it wasn't even 10 years ago. She was probably 15 years ago. And that was when Frank Miller Daredevil pages were around $2,500 a piece, and the Byrne X-Men pages were around $4,500 a piece. So, live and learn, everybody. But so what else we got going on? It's a mess around here. So I did record. I've got a calf cribs for you today, and it's from the office before I tore it apart, took all the paintings and artwork down. It says Thor, everybody. It doesn't say Ho. I know. I could button it up, but All right, there we go. So, man, that hurts to hear, Chris Lutz. Chris, I owe you an email too. I know you emailed me yesterday. There actually isn't going to be a calf update, proper one up. I guess there is going to be one more. The one I've got coming up is going to be live. The week of San Diego is going to be a pre-recorded one, which ironically I guess would be the 2-year anniversary one. So, what are you going to do? I mean, we can't really schedule these things properly. All right, I'm not taking the shirt off. It stays this way. It didn't seem like 2 hours. It was 3 hours, Mr. Redjack. That was the problem. It went on until 1 o'clock Eastern. So because we started it with Dave at 10 p.m. to kind of fit better into his schedule. So and you're right, Ken. At that time, $2,500 and $4,500 for a Miller or a Byrne page was not a whole, was a lot of money. I mean, I look back at that because I could get like a Magnola, X-Men, classic X-Men cover for the same price or less, and it was a cover versus buying interior pages. And I did buy about 4 Byrne pages back then, but I never picked up a Miller Daredevil. So it's kind of how it goes. Marcus, you got to stop doing that, because I get excited every time I see the word cam and a lot of emoticons in people's chats. It makes me want to click block. So don't do that too often in succession. But anyway, too many hoes cost big bucks. Yes, that's all right. So what do I got for you? Interesting weekend, calf. I actually had to turn off somebody's calf gallery. And those of you who were paying attention on me, maybe it was Monday or Tuesday, I don't know. There was that South American art rep that was just posting bad art after bad art. And I'm not an arbiter of good or bad art, but mostly it was bad art. And it wasn't even art that they owned. They were posting like commission examples and things like that. And I emailed them that morning, hey, stop this. We need to talk. No reply. Art keeps getting posted. Second email, I try to explain what CAF's about. I'm thinking maybe there's a language barrier here. He continues to post. So I finally, on the third email, I shut off his access to his CAF gallery and turned off his gallery and explained very, succinctly what I was doing. And that kind of put an end to it. So, then they emailed me apologizing, of course. But yeah, everybody acts sometimes like, I'm not trying to police the site, when it's a rep doing, posting artwork that they don't own, I can be the arbiter of whether or not it should be there or not. When it's a collector posting artwork that they've collected, I can't tell them, hey, that's a bad looking pinup, or whatever. But when a rep is doing it, and really reps, nobody can do that. The reps can't use their CAF gallery for a commission example sort of thing. It just isn't. It's not proper. I know that it does happen, and I've seen it a few times before, but never to that extent. They had posted about 600 artworks by the time I finally had enough. And yeah, Overlord Billigan. That was kind of what it felt like. But I emailed with him a little bit afterwards. I just said, send me a press release. I see you don't even have a website. You use eBay for all your selling. I'm happy to post press releases for you if you want to give me one a week about what you're selling on eBay. That's cool, but you're not going to use your CAF gallery to promote getting commissions. And yeah, it was actually over 600. He had created the account about a month before, so I really didn't look too closely at what was posted earlier. I just basically said, if you don't own it, if it's not in your possession to sell it, I don't want you posting it here. And everything I looked at was commissions. He literally had 40 gallery rooms with different artist names on them too. So he was working really hard that day. Even Maureen, I had Maureen looking at something to actually on the new art page, which to reprogram something, and she even texted me. She's like, "Are you seeing what's going on here?" So I'm like, "I'm on it. I'm I'm on email too." So yeah, that was interesting. But it doesn't happen that often. But that was one of those days where I felt like I had to stop it before it got any worse, because I don't like people wasting their time either. Imagine how many hours that guy worked at posting all that artwork. So he's billing by the by the post. Yes, Chris, exactly. I see what you're saying there. But yeah, I never like doing that though. It's not something that I just wish most people, and artists too, because other than that, I typically am the one closing artist galleries. Where an artist creates a CAF gallery, and I say, we're not a fan artist site. Become published, get some of that work out there, and then you can have a CAF gallery. I got an email from an artist today. I haven't had it, because what I tell people on the sign up page, if you're an artist, email me and just confirm, tell me a little bit about yourself, and I'll confirm that I won't turn your gallery off when you start one. And most of them don't read that, even though it's number one on the on the page about creating a CAF gallery. But I did have a guy email me today who said he's been published in some books and whatnot. So I didn't follow the link to see what his art looks like or whatnot. But at least he asked, because 99 times out of 100 they don't ask. They wait to be told they can't do it. So yeah, they probably did know I was painting. It was a mess. And I am repainting it purple though. It's more of a plum than the dark purple. I figure I'm going to leave the new homeowner with a little slice of me in this room. Every other room in the house is like a gray or a light green, light blue. So just really kind of muted colors and whatnot. Even though I repainted the bathroom on the other side of the wall white because Maureen wanted it white. But I'm like, I'm keeping this room this color, close to it. So very plummy. What sheen? How did you know that, Tyler? It was eggshell, as a matter of fact. Have you worked behind the counter at a Home Depot before? So yeah, eggshell sits right in the middle of super gloss and no gloss. So yeah, eggshell. I figure you play it safe by going with it right down the middle. That's the way I like to play it. So hey, Lyle. And yeah, the thing is, I should mention, there's so many of you guys in here that I got to meet at Heroes, and I didn't really ever get a chance to acknowledge all the people that I did get to meet, and many people whose names I forgot. But like Peter Rowe, it was really nice getting to meet you. I'm glad you were in the Comic Art Fans photo op that we did. And I really need to load that photo up and show it off, because there's two people in the whole thing that I can't figure out who it is. And I had Larry and Chris Norick, and we were all trying to figure out who these people were, and we were striking out. I'll load that thing up, because I bet if I show it to you guys, you'll be able to figure out the missing names from the photo, because I'm going to do it right now, because if I don't, I'm going to forget, and then I'll be off to Florida and I'll forget again. So here, let me find here. We can get this thing here. All right, I'm just going to open it up as a share screen. That'll be a lot easier. All right, get that. One more thing to do. All right, here we go. So the two people that we couldn't figure out, let me think here. It was, and I know I've met this guy before, but I don't know, I couldn't think of his name. Nobody else can remember who he was, but if anybody knows who that is, please let me know, because it's killing me. Because again, he was there. I even talked to him for a few minutes, or a few seconds probably. But if you know who that gentleman is, please let me know. Obviously, there's a lot of, look at all these great looking guys here. And then who else was the other one person we weren't sure of? Let's see. I think it was it? I think it was this gentleman right here. Did not know who that was. They had their mask on even when I talked to him. And nope, Aranga didn't know him, Rich. Aranga was kind of one of the early people we had asked. Yeah, Peter, the guy to your right. This is Peter Rowe, by the way. That's the guy with the Godfather, the Kirby father, of course, shirt on. That's Peter. Tyler T's right there. Man, look at everybody. Look at all these good-looking guys. But we got Chris Norick. There's Johnny McCloskey there. Aranga, Benno, Matt Moore. I mean, look at this. Everybody was hanging out at that shop. But, there was at least, 10 times more calf collectors there that day. But yeah, so those two people are the ones that we do not know. Yeah, the webcam CEO. So if anybody watching later after the show is over knows whom those two people were, you should let me know. Stanley, was there many female collectors at Heroes? There were two that I did meet. But that was about all. But sure, I mean, you're seeing people buy stuff all the time, and so I mean, there were women collecting artwork, buying artwork. But did I know who they were, and did they introduce themselves to me? No. So, but we know there's a discrepancy with women in comic art collecting for whatever reason, or at least that talk about it. When we look at the YouTube analytics, where everything's pretty granular, we know that what is it? It's like 0.5% of all the viewers on the Comic Art Live channel are women. I don't know. It's just what it is. Don't know why. Maybe I'm not that charismatic with that, but what are you going to do? Okay, Jimmy Lawrence says that's Kevin Chen in the mask. Oh, man. Thank you, Jimmy. Kevin Chen. All right. Thank you. I'm writing that one down, because I told Benno I'd send him a copy of the photo once I had everybody's names. So Chuck Arnold's over here. If you didn't know Chuck, there he is right there. Look at that. He's like the king. Dale R. Where else we got? We got Eric. He's there. He's going to be on the show tonight doing some picks. This is Patrick, by the way. Tony Brischler, Michael. But all right. Well, then only one more to go, right? So I think if anybody, gosh, I mean, and I've met this guy before. That's the part that is very frustrating. When you've actually met somebody and then you can't remember who their name. Oh, you know what? What is this guy's name too? Because I thought I knew who it was, and then I forgot. Because clearly I talked to him numerous times at the show. He had a daughter with him who had to have been like between 17 and 19, as tall as he was. He was probably like 6'1". She was 6'1". And for some reason I thought that was Robert Berman, and I remember Larry saying it wasn't Robert, and I screwed that one up. So I don't know who this guy is. Yep, there's Stephen N. holding his Danny Warren Johnson commission, showing it off repeatedly. But yes, but this guy was around everywhere, and I'm kicking myself for forgetting his name, because I know I'd remembered it, talked to him a couple times, and then show ends, and it just left the building. So anyway, so those are that one, that guy right there, and this guy right here. Anybody can help me out with those, I would appreciate it. So hide that for now. So what else I got for you? How about I do my calf cribs video for you, since it's it's a short version, because I talk too much when I'm looking at art, even though I literally only have this 12 by 12 room. I had all those artworks to look at, and I just kind of rambled a little bit too much. So basically I have a short version which I'll play tonight, and I will post the longer version tomorrow, probably. Well, usually calf cribs go up at 4, and the weekly flip will go up at 1. So yeah, Daryl R was wearing sandals. I don't know how you do that at a con. That's a surefire way to end up having some seriously bad feet by the end of the thing. But Daryl looks happy. So yeah, he made it through without it. A single problem. Flip-flops and Punisher go hand in hand, says Rick Welch. All right, so here, let me go ahead and play my calf cribs short, and it's 6 minutes. So I think the full version was just over 10. So you'll get that tomorrow at 4 on the channel. So here we go. Hello, comic art fans. Well, many of you asked me to do a calf cribs video of my own before I pack everything up from Ohio and move it to Florida, so here you go. This is my generally messy desk. Got that MacBook Pro on the left, PC on the right, and my ultra-wide monitor in the middle, which helps me do all the cool things I do on the shows and at video editing, and helps me multitask pretty well. So, art on the walls. What do we got first here? This, of course, is one of my daughters, but they don't hang art on the walls, so I end up hanging it here. This is a Philip Moy Powerpuff Girl issue 5 cover. Really love this one. I picked it up at my first San Diego Comic-Con. Next up, try to get that light off of there. There's light everywhere around here. But this is a Giorgio Camolo piece that I picked up through Enrico Salvini while he was repping Camolo. Everybody knows I'm a fan of his work, and this is one of my favorite commissions I've ever gotten. I hung this one up here for you guys who like to call me a brony. It is, of course, not my art. It's, again, my daughter's. They won't hang it up in their walls here in Ohio, but it's by Tony Fleets, and I just love his work and happy to have it on my wall, at least for another day. Some Disney photos there. And what else we got here? So there is a power fuse box behind that gigantic print by Dynamic Forces. Thank you, Nick Ferrucci. That is signed by Dave Cockrum and Alex Ross. And I bought that at a Warner Brothers store even before I started collecting original art. It was something that I saw and just felt I had to have it because I'm a big X-Men fan, as you know. Oh, and as you can see on the right there, I used to coach my daughter's softball team. Helped them win a few championships along the way, too. Now the back wall, the stuff that you guys are so used to seeing all the time. You got the Thor hammer, Loki, and helmets by Thor, of course. And the case down below here is where all of my portfolios are. So I got to move a lot of art to Florida. And that little segment here, nothing too special. Got some Doom and Quake guys there. I used to do a lot of gaming in my day. The Hellboy hand, I got that as part of a deal. I helped Anthony score a bunch of stuff one time, and in that deal was a Hellboy hand, and I said, as my commission, give me that. And so he did. All right, we look at a few things here on the back wall. The Wolverine was a eBay purchase before I started collecting original art, and it was one of those things hanging up in a store to promote the comics, and I just had to have it. As many people know, I go to the IX Art Show every year. Science fiction fantasy at its best in Pennsylvania, probably the best show in the world for science fiction fantasy artists and those who like buying art there. This one is by Elliot Lang, great illustrator. One year, my daughter Gwen did some modeling, and so I picked this up from an artist named Melissa Gay. She's a great painter and very good likeness for Gwen. There we go. This is a illustration by Guinevere Singley, and she's just a really fun, quirky illustrator. I've always loved her work and had to pick a piece up. I actually got a couple pieces in the same style. All right, this is by an artist named Elizabeth Alba, It's about 2.5 by 2.5. Very nice painting of an owl with some gold gilded kind of highlights on it. I really like that piece. This is by an illustrator named Stephanie Pooney Moon Law. I've always been a huge fan of hers. This is, let's see, get my shadow off of there. Boy, lighting in this room is bad. It's a small office, everybody. This is by Omar Rayan. Omar is an incredible painter, very fun illustrations, and you know, I can't say enough good things about his style. He's fantastic, and if you ever have the opportunity, you should buy something from him. Up top there is a painting by Bob Eggleton. Always, you know, in demand science fiction fantasy artist. So he's always been one of my favorites, and happy to add that piece to my collection. Next up is a illustration by Wiley Beckert in pencil. She's doing a lot of work for Magic the Gathering nowadays, but I've picked up about 4 or 5 of her pencil pieces. I just like her style. Very Dungeons and Dragon-y. Then you've got a very cool illustration by the uber talented Ian Miller. He did artwork in my favorite Tolkien Lord of the Rings book called the Tolkien Bestiary back in the day, and that's how I got turned on to his work originally, and he's just amazing. I'd love to own more pieces by him. This is a cover prelim painting, if you can believe that, by an artist named Daryl Sweet. Daryl left us far too soon, and he's just an amazing talent. This is a prelim to one of the Magic of Xanth books by Piers Anthony, and it's a wraparound cover. So you got to work the angles here, everybody. This is a painting by Ryan Pancoast. He did a kind of a world building exercise, kind of Old West meets dragons, and I know he had at least one book come out from it. Most of the stuff were spot pen and ink illustrations. This was one of the few paintings that I remember seeing, and I was really happy to buy this at the end of IX one year. So there you go. That's the short version, and there's another 4 minutes of that where I actually show some comic art and talk about it, and then you can even see the closet where all the cool costumes hang or used to hang. But so yeah, some comments during that I thought were funny. Somebody said the Bill News Bears. Yeah, we actually won a couple championships while we did that. But it was fun. She played softball for about 6 years, and I was one of those dads that was always around since I worked from home. I could take her and then just kind of hang out. So I had to start playing catch with them one day, and then 3 or 4 weeks of doing that, eventually I became a coach. So I did that for 6 years, and it was fun. So I get to hang out with the guys. Go out for a beer after you take the kids home and talk about softball with your young daughters and how to make them be better players. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing it. I played a lot of baseball when I was younger. I was never good at it, but I always enjoyed doing it. So Alfredo, yeah, skulls. 2. What is that? 2? Yeah, 2 skulls. One I made, and the other one, I guess I should have said that. Yeah, one of those skulls was that was actually an art project when I was in college. So this one right here, I actually made it. So it was I can't remember what. It was like one of my first sculpture classes when I was in Montserrat College of Art, and the teacher hated me because it's hard enough to do stuff in clay, right? But they only had like 1 skull per table, so I was basically putting my hand on my own head and then coming back and putting it here, and pretty much did it all. And when everybody else's kind of looked like they had thumbs, bashed in for the eyes and whatnot, and mine came out looking like this, and it stayed pretty much about the right size. Look at that. So at any rate, so I've kept that. That's like the only art thing I did in college that I still have. So, but it makes a perfect, staging area for the props. And the other one was something that my father had. So I'm allowed to keep that. But in a weird way, I guess it probably keeps Maureen out of my office, right? I don't know. She won't come in here. Maybe that's why. But there was a good observation from Alyssa earlier too. She said that I believe that the disparity between men and women in terms of money is one of the reasons why there are less females collecting OA. And I guess that's possible, right? It's definitely could play a factor. Not all OA is super duper expensive, but it could be part of the reason. I mean, I've always wondered, why that is, or why, we don't have more. Because the thing is, I know they're out there, but I think that maybe there's a reason for them not showing artwork in a calf gallery, those sorts of things. Because I met a lot of collectors whose wives also collect, maybe not all comic art, but illustration art. You saw like Sharon last night. I don't think she's a big OA collector, but she saw that pumpkin image and she thought, hey, I'd like to get that. So it's so I don't know. It might just be the art type, as well, that just isn't as appealing. I don't think I've ever seen any industry reports on comic reading, so which I would think would have to be females reading comics would be a very high percentage. So I don't know why we don't see that, other than the fact that maybe there's less need to share, want to share. I don't know. But it's definitely something to consider. I mean, Wonder Effing Woman's been on her a few times, as has Dark Phoenix a few times. So we've definitely had a few women on here. Wouldn't mind having more. If we ever do any more, if we ever get back to doing those kind of collector chats, I think that would be fun. Get some more interaction on that side of things. And let's see, Mr. Rejek, you have a few skulls. I don't know if I want to know why, but let's see. What is the general breakdown in comic collecting? I mean, that's the question I'd ask too. There's bound to be some research out there. I'm sure, we could probably find out. I mean, even if it was 30%, you'd still think that we'd have more art collectors. But hey, it's not for me to say. But at any rate, so what other comments did I see when we're flying by when we were looking at my my thing here? What do we got? Oh, Eric Wenger said he hopes that we see a tattoo in this. No. See, I wasn't going to tell you, Eric, that I actually did have a tattoo, but yeah. Eric, of course, got a tattoo when was it? I think he got it while he was in Heroes, or it was around there, right before Heroes or something. But yeah, no, I'm keeping that one a secret. It's not the Thor hammer though that Jeff Wenning was kind of predicating that it might have been something along those lines. No, it was not. It was a youthful mistake. So you hurt me deeply, Bill. Sorry, Eric. Eric's in the green room, so he's I can see him typing and laughing at me at the same time. So yeah, but you never know. But I did actually mention it to Maureen. I'm like, could I ever get a tattoo if I go out to a show? And she said absolutely not. So sorry, Chris. Sorry, Eric. It's probably not going to happen. But you never say never. It could happen. So let's see, what do we got here? Bob Riley, says that collected comics for almost 30 years before buying this first piece of art. It does take time to transition. I mean, we hear that a lot, right? And with so many new collectors that are in the hobby, that have created calf galleries in the last 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, it's funny when I look at a lot of the people in the chat, a lot of collectors that I interact with on Facebook these days. By and large, there's a high percentage of those collectors began their collecting careers around 2017 to 2019. So, but I think that's cool. I think that's why we're seeing a lot of interest in the YouTube videos that that I'm doing, and Ruben, 4C, everybody who's kind of experimenting with new media. I mean, we're seeing younger collectors come in, in great numbers. We're still like it was alluded to by Dave Mandel on Tuesday. We've seen a lot of collectors leave the hobby too. I used Tim Townsend as a reference. I mean, he still has art, but he's been kind of phasing himself out of collecting. And he was, and I said it on Tuesday, I'll say it again, he was always my hero as far as original art collectors were when I first started collecting, because he just always had a good story. He had high energy. He was one of those guys that would root out the craziest pieces, and it's not a trend. So there's a lot of churn in the hobby at the end of the day. New people coming in and people leaving. So what was Kelly Goon asking? When we meet in Columbus, we're going to try talking me into getting a tattoo. No, that's probably not. It won't happen. It won't happen. I don't know any good tattoo parlors in Columbus, so I think. So what else we got there? David Wetzel says is going to the Spidey exhibit. And speaking of the Spidey exhibit, we are going to see a little video that Mikhail put together for me. We took a bunch of photographs and some video excerpts, and I've put it all together. So we'll be looking at that in a little bit. But when we looked at the calf cribs, I would, one artist who I think is absolutely fantastic, and I don't really know where to buy his art online. He must have his own store. He has a piece on a site called everydayoriginal.com about, I don't know, once every other month. They're fun. They're like character or creature paintings. He's a watercolor painter. His name is Omar Rayan, and you got to look him up because his style is just fantastic. He won one of our grand prizes during I think it was Infected by Art 7, but he's just a phenomenal painter and a really fun guy. I mean, he is the life of the party. If you go to IX, you just look for the loudest looking Romanian guy. And I don't know if he's Romanian or not, but he looks Romanian. He just has that feel, and but he's high energy, and his art's fantastic. And his wife's she's a potter, so whenever they're set up together, she's got like coffee mugs and steins and those sorts of things, and then he's got all his watercolors. And so their table is one that's like always crowded at IX because his art's kind of affordable too. So. So I took the shirt off so I could have so I wouldn't have any concern about what I'm wearing. So Rayan, Rayann, so is how you spell it. Omar Rayan. I'm probably not pronouncing it very well. Yes, and maybe it's 2 Y's. I could be wrong. I thought it was 1 Y and 2 N's, but look him up. He's fantastic. And a site that I would highly recommend if you're into the kind of art that I was showing as well. Everydayoriginal.com is a guy named Mark Sheff. He is an art director, an artist, really awesome guy. I think he's helping Spectrum get their last book put together. He's got his hands in a lot of different things, and he is one of the co-owners of everydayoriginal.com. And the idea behind that site was that every day they would have one piece of art for sale. It's usually like a small piece painted, or sometimes it's pen and ink, but typically it's a painted piece or maybe like a charcoal piece. But by and large, it's paintings. But it's fun because every day, literally, they drop the art at noon, and if you're on the mailing list, you'll get a teaser email at 11, Eastern, letting you know what the piece is going to be. And they pretty much sell every piece that they post. I mean, if you go there, you'll probably find a couple hundred pieces that are still available for sale that didn't sell immediately. But it's a very cool concept. And again, they're not selling comic art, but but the artwork they have is pretty cool. Several well-known artists in the sci-fi fantasy genre are represented there. I mean, and they're not art reps either. They just have good friendships because he's an art director. The other owner's an art director as well. So they've got lots of connections in the industry, and they just work out these really good deals. And it was funny, the first year the artwork was probably always like 150 to 250, and now the pieces 3 or 4 years later are in that. Sometimes they might be 400. They could go up to 600, just depending on what they are. And it's kind of been so popular that they even started a regular. I'm not even sure what the domain name of that site is. It's linked off of everydayoriginal.com, but another site where they're just showing more artwork than they could, on Everyday Original. So because it's such a good concept, but they're selling the art in the first 5 minutes and they have nothing to sell for 24 hours. So, their great idea forced them to actually create a different model for a second business wrapped around the people that they're friends with. But really great people. I mean, I love innovation like that. That's so cool. And, I think that, I think more people should experiment with stuff like that. But they've done a really great job. Of course, Patrick Wilshire, who I'm really good friends with, he's got ixgallery.com, where he really, I don't feel like he's a rep. He kind of runs it as a gallery owner. So, and I know gallery owners do rep artists in that, in that way, but I don't feel like he and his wife are reps per se. Again, in good relationships because of the IX Art Show, and IX Gallery is just kind of an offshoot of the IX Art Show that allows them to sell art and promote artists year round. So IX Gallery, and I built that site, but he ended up hiring a different developer to kind of make it more cool, and he definitely did, whoever he worked with. So IX Gallery would be the other place I would suggest you check out. Let's see. Chris Lutz, check that at Everyday Original. Yeah, it's all good art, and most of it's small. Because one of the things that Mark Sheff did when he would set up at IX Gallery was he was working with those same artists, and he would do like a small art show, and where everything had to be smaller than like 6x6, and he would set up a booth. He'd usually have about 100 pieces. He'd sell about half of them when he was at IX Arts, and it worked well, right? And I think that's what spawned the whole everyday original concept. And so he just kind of rolled that success into doing that. So again, just it's cool when you watch people evolve ideas like that. But small art shows were something that was really big. Started like 10 years ago in the sci-fi fantasy world. A lot of galleries were doing it. They still do it, right? And again, that's where my one of my passions, of course, is sci-fi fantasy. So let's move along here. There were a couple of people who passed in the last week, and one was today, that Kazuki Takahashi. I really didn't get a chance to read too much about it, but I got, like, Jeff Wedding, I know you sent me a press announcement about it. I know he's the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! So definitely someone who's working in the same area, genres that we frequent. My kids never played Yu-Gi-Oh! Of course, but I'm familiar with it. So definitely a tragedy there. It sounded like an accident of some kind. I think he was 60 years old. So that's always terrible. And then Robert Cox emailed me earlier in the week, and I didn't get a chance to really set anything up for this, but a good friend of his, Anthony Lee, or Tony Lee, who was a comic artist and I think maybe primarily a colorist, he passed away over the weekend, if I'm not mistaken, or at least that was when Robert had heard about it. So Anthony Lee is somebody who's got maybe 100 artworks on CAF. So certainly, if you go to Robert Cox's CAF gallery, spelled just like my last name, you can see several pieces that he owned by Anthony. And again, just a lot of sad things going on in the world these days. And our condolences from everybody at CAF, of course, out to Anthony's family and to Mr. Takahashi's family as well. So, and I believe there was some other note that I got the other day too, but again, I kind of came in hot tonight and did not have the opportunity to prepare like I normally would for those sorts of things. But again, check out Robert Cox's CAF gallery to see some of the work by Anthony Lee or Tony Lee if you're doing searches for him. So I've been looking at different things to do in San Diego. I haven't got my full schedule set up there, but I know I've got a couple dinners planned. So I'm hoping to meet as many collectors as I can that are on the West Coast. I'm not sure who all is going, but I will arrive there on Thursday afternoon. I believe I'll probably get to the convention center around 2, and I am there through the end of the day Saturday, taking a red eye back to Ohio late on Saturday. So hopefully I can meet up with people. I'll be hanging out in the same aisle that I'll be in Anthony's booth a little bit. I'll be in Mark Hayes' booth a little bit, and then I'll be in Berkey's booth a bit as well. Oh, Joe Turkel from Blade Runner, that was mentioned today as well, and then James Caan as well. I mean, what's going on around here? Missing preview night. Yes, I am missing preview night, Marcus, unfortunately, but I'm not going there with an agenda other than just getting the opportunity to say hi to as many people as I can while I'm there. I talked with Anthony and Sharon and Mike after the show last night, and I told them we need to set a time where the four of us are actually together. So I don't know when that'll be. We'll probably let everybody know next Dueling Dealers, so on Wednesday. But I thought it'd be fun to at least get the four of us together and do some photo ops if the chance presents itself. But hopefully Anthony will be out of his diaper by then if we do it on Saturday. So yeah. No, that's the playpen, says CJ. Yeah, that's but at any rate, I'll let you know. I told them we had to do it. I'm sure it'll be pretty fun. I think if I gave everybody a time slot on Saturday, like sometime mid to late afternoon, so it's not early in the day when everybody's kind of chasing down things, that might work out pretty well. I would definitely enjoy taking some selfies with the three of them and anybody that wanted to hang out. More than likely, we'll probably do it over at Mike's and Mark's area, because they usually have a lot more space behind their front, in front of the front wall, then Anthony pretty much crams everything all the way up to the front wall, so you can't stand in there whatsoever. So I imagine whatever we do, it will be over at Mike's booth. So yeah, Jeff, hit the like button. And I'm out of Coca-Cola, so I'm drinking something that really I don't really care for. It's a bold ginger ale from Canada Dry. And I'm not paid either for that endorsement. So how much do I charge for signatures? Absolutely nothing. But I am bringing a stack of trading cards. I got a few here. I brought what do I got in here? Since I'm going to see Tatiana, I've got a couple. I have an extra. These were like extras, so I got a couple for Tatiana. Mikhail, look, oh, covering up your face. Got a couple for you as well. So these were from that first run, and I've always had them sitting around. I meant to mail them out to you guys, and I never did. So I'll be bringing those with me to San Diego. And so anybody who wants to get, what do we got in here? Plenty of signed Billigan cards. Happy to hand those out to anybody that wants them. And then I've got some Bindiana Jones cards that I've signed. We'll have to get Berkey to sign them. That logo right there was designed by Ron Lim. Thank you, Ron. I always appreciated that, having the community help us out with this stuff. But yeah, so I'll have a bunch of these with me when I'm hanging out with those guys. So just stop by, and if I don't, just stick one in the palm of your hand. Ask me for one, because I've got probably like 200 or 300 of these still to give out. There were lots of unsigned cards in the set. Well, it was problematic, Marcus. That was my first go round with trying to organize that. And but the thing is, all of us will be in the same aisle at the same time. If you've got unsigned cards that you want to have signed, I'll definitely be bringing a silver, black, and gold pen with me just in case. So what was that question from Robert? Are Marquet and Mike Berkey still sharing a booth? Yes, they are. They are definitely sharing a booth, at least for one more year. I know that, who knows if it'll continue, but I know that, but they are in the same aisle, kind of adjacent to one another like they always have been. And that's true. Mikhail has these awesome pins of with my likeness on them saying, "What would Bill Cox do?" I don't know where mine's at right now. I think I might have packed those up, Mikhail, or I'd show it off to everybody. Yeah, I don't see it on my desk. I think I packed them away. But they are very cool, and I appreciate that. I've actually found a couple stickers from you, Mikhail, that I've got to get put onto my portfolio. It's got a few spaces left on it. Indeed. Thank you, Ron. Unholy Comics, Bill. Bill, yes. I actually have been meaning to ask Nick Barucci about that. I remember once he told me that I would get comp copies of the Vampirella Unholy. I never did. I mean, I've got, well, see, I want to say they're right there, but they're not there anymore. I've got, I bought 2 of the sketch covers myself, and then Nick had sent me one that was a color Ken Hazer drawing of Billithor. But I never got any comp copies from them. They probably don't even have them anymore. I don't know. They probably didn't print a ton of them, but that reminds me, I do need to ask Nick about that, because I honestly, I wanted to, if I had them, I would have brought them to Heroes and probably, been happy to hand them out there. I'm not looking to make a buck on them, but I could have signed them. What would Bill do? Oh man, Maureen is watching. Son of a gun. Hey Maureen, love you. Okay to sign my Unholy comics. Yeah, I'd be happy to sign the Unholy comics, but I should have worked out that in advance. I'm going to talk to Nick about that though. Johnny McCloskey, thanks Johnny for that. I can hear Maureen laughing in the other room, I think. Whereas the answer to that question is whatever Maureen tells me to do. That tends to be true. I try to tell Maureen what to do as far as work goes, and she's in the other room laughing. At any rate, should have got it in writing, says Rich Danny's. That's very true. What do I got there? I'm sorry, I'm looking through the rest of the comments here. But yeah, happy to sign any of those things. Just don't bring me your Thor art. I will not sign that. I know Mike Berkey likes to suggest that I'll do that on a regular basis, but I refuse to do it. It's just not it's not my DNA to put any kind of marks on artwork. So, yep. Maureen's over there. Yeah, Eric trying to get the tattoo details out of her. Not going to happen. All right. Well, why don't we do the weekly flip? This is a flip. Derek, when he did his first one, actually sent me two, which was good because I didn't have a weekly flip to do this week. So, Derek Crabb, thank you for sending me two at one time. And I don't say this enough, but please, you guys and gals, send me weekly flips. I want to I really want one every week. You don't want me to have to do one. I've already did a calf cribs, but I will do a weekly flip. I can make Mike Berkey do a weekly flip. Anthony, he would do a weekly flip. But what we need to do is have everybody send them in. Whenever you want, just contact me. I'll give you a Google Drive link to upload it. If it takes you a couple takes, just send them all to me. I'll pull it into one, flip and put it together for you. It's my pleasure to do it. People really love them. They get a lot of traction after the show when I post them by themselves. And who contacted me? Jay Giant contacted me and said he wanted to do a weekly flip of some of his Hulk artwork. I didn't get back to him, but I'm going to tell him yes and have it ready for me next week. I will have to turn it on for you. All right, well, let's get this weekly flip on the screen for everybody. And again, this is from Derek Crabb, who's in the audience tonight. Here we go.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Derek, and this is going to be a weekly flip of my Maxima themed portfolio. This head sketch is by Anna Joe, and it was done on a live stream, but there wasn't too much video of it towards the end because it was kind of towards the finish of the live stream. So I didn't see the final product until it was posted and sent out to me. This is a Brett Booth penciled piece of Maxima and the Justice League. This is the Justice League from around the Death of Superman era. The two pieces were done independent of one another, but requested to be joined. Originally, Maxima was going to be the main focus of the piece on the right, and I asked for Superman, Guy Gardner, and Bloodwind as the backup characters in the piece. And then a few months later, I commissioned the left half of the piece with Blue Beetle as the main focus, along with Booster Gold, Fire, and Ice. And if you look, there's a little bug up there in the background as well. This was also inked by Adelso Corona. There's also a color version of this on my calf by Andrew Dahlhaus. We've got a Liam Sharp Maxima. That was done fairly recently. It was one of the first conventions I went to, I guess, in a long time, and that was picked up locally. I think it was supposed to be a sort of replacement for the Big Wow Con, and it was up in San Jose. The piece on the right is Valor Largand and Maxima by M.D. Bright. MC Wyman Maxima, that was purchased off eBay. Paul Pelletier Maxima with Scott Hanna inks. That's kind of before I realized you could do blue line inks and preserve the pencils. So I just kind of brought the pencils to Scott Hanna in Boston, and the penciled piece was done by Paul Pelletier at the Denver Comic Con or Pop Culture Con. The Mark Teixeira Maxima, that was done at Boston. It was right up until the very tail end of the show because Mark was putting all the finishing touches on it, and he kind of didn't want to let go of the art. But eventually it was, I don't know, 10 minutes past 5 on a Sunday, so he had to give it up. Bart Sears, Superman and Supreme fighting over Maxima. Maybe I can just turn it to the side here. There's also a color version of this in my calf gallery as well, digitally colored. Dan Parent Maxima, done Archie style. That was at a Boston Fan Expo. The Dan Brereton Maxima was one of the last pieces I got at the Stockton Con right before the pandemic started. Tom Grummett, Maxima and Superman, or as I like to call him, Gladiator Superman. That's one of my favorites. And on the right is David Lapham with a Maxima. Those were all, I guess, work at home, stay at home type commissions that were mailed to me and weren't picked up at any particular shows. Continuing in that theme, Jeff Johnson with a Gladiator, Superman, and Maxima, and Sial Koch with kind of the same theme. I kind of had these going around the same time, with Superman and Maxima and Mongol's head on a pike. George Perez, Maxima, and Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, praise be his name, Maxima. And again, this was pre me realizing I could have preserved the pencils and done some blue linings, but the pencils were given to Scott Hanna, and so I had the Jose Luis Garcia Lopez done at Heroes Con, and then at the Boston Fan Expo, or maybe, yeah, Boston Fan Expo was where Scott Hanna inked the pencils. Ramona Fraden, there's a pretty long story to this, but ultimately I did finally see this piece and was able to acquire it. It was sort of something I came up with, but I thought wasn't going to happen, and then later I saw it was up for grabs. And then there's a Jim Calafiore Maxima, and that was done at the Baltimore Comic Con. Larry Welts, that's another sort of stay-at-home type commission. Joe Linsner Maxima, that was done at Heroes Con 2019. Kenneth Rocafort Maxima, this was done in 2019. It was a local pickup. And Todd Knock Maxima, that was a stay-at-home commission that was mailed. Aaron Lopresti Maxima, this was done on a live stream, so you can actually see his process and how that was created. It was kind of cool that something I commissioned was done on a live stream. And then on the right is a Bart Sears Maxima. The left is an Ayasario, Vanessa Sorio Tolentino Maxima. I like her art a lot, and I wanted to see what she would do with Maxima, and I was pretty happy. And a Michelle Fife Maxima. This was a Patreon reward for supporting the Patreon. Graham Nolan Maxima and Andy Smith Maxima, also crowdfunding rewards.
All right. Thank you, Derek. Another good flip from you. I'll have that on the YouTube channel tomorrow at 1 o'clock for those who missed the opportunity. But again, please, Billy Comic Art fans, email me. Let me know you want to do one of these. And they're easy. Don't be shy. I know a lot of people, calf cribs aren't going to be for everybody. Not everybody wants to show off how they display their artwork. And a lot of people don't even hang their artwork on their walls, right? So, but everybody's got a portfolio. So everyone can do a flip. And you don't have to be on camera to do a flip. So please hit me up. Let's make sure that we get to always have a new one for every single week of the year, for every show on the CAF update. So let's go on and hit the schedule here. It's not a full schedule by any means. I'm only going to show the art for sale shows that we're doing, because I really don't have any interviews lined up for the rest of July or even into August. This is wrapped up in all the moving and everything. It's nothing more than that, but I just have not had the opportunity. I have a long list. I mean, trust me, I keep a Post-it note right here where I've got Bernard Chang wants to be on, Shannon Weathers, Super Pet Rescue. There was a framer guy that Dan Poddick told me about that he wants me to have on the show one time to talk about some of the comic artwork that he's framed over the years. Lee Banaka. I mean, I gotta have him over there. James Siegel gave me, I think, 3 people that all said they wanted to do it. I haven't gotten back to anybody. So I've got 2 months worth of interviews sitting here. I just have to book them. So either I need to get a secretary, or it's going to wait till probably mid-August or something, I think, beforehand. But there will be plenty of opportunities for shows. So why don't I just go ahead and show the slide that's got the upcoming sales stuff. You can see it even went over the Dueling Dealers logo because I got too much stuff going on. But let's see. I can actually tell you, because we have a show on Sunday. That is a show that I'm doing with Jeff Wedding. That's going to be the first CAF University show. We kind of planned that out. We've been talking about it for 6 months, but probably about a month ago, we said this is the date we're going to do it. So it's going to be on Sunday night at 9, and we're going to be covering the best practices on storing your artwork, preservation concepts. Jeff, of course, has a background in archaeology and storage of paper products, those sorts of things. And so he's going to be the guy that's going to walk us through the pros and cons of a lot of these storage materials that are out there, and how best to take care of our art. So that is going to be on Sunday. That's not on this list. But beginning on Monday, got an amateur dealer show between Jordan and Tatiana. It is a $1,000 and under show. So each of them will bring 24 artworks to the show. That's going to start at 9 p.m. on Monday. On Tuesday, I will have a kind of a special show with Mike. It was open because that's usually my interview night. Mike had said, asked me about doing this. It's going to be basically a very high dollar show. He probably has about, God, I don't even know if we even get through them all. Probably about 80 pieces of art, and they're going to be things that we would normally see in rounds 13 through 15, or not at all on Dueling Dealers. It's all going to be high-end stuff. So you can consider it a claim show, or more of a preview for Mike, or however you want to look at it, because you can claim anything that we show. But I think, given the fact that, we're going to be talking about some pretty expensive pieces of art, they're going to be hard to be claimed during the show. But I think for my benefit, I'll make sure that I work it out with Mike that says, don't post them on your site. And if he does sell any of those, it's because of the work that we did on that show, and I should get some kind of credit for that from him. So I'll work that out with him in advance. But it'll be a cool show, because you will see some pretty amazing pieces, and we'll get through as much as we can and try to keep it to 2 hours or less on that day. And then the Wednesday Dueling Dealers will be 1,000 and under show as well. Then we're going to skip. Well, a lot of things are going to get skipped the week of San Diego, of course, but I can tell you on the 18th, it's not on here. I do have a Hakes preview, and I think I've got 3 guys from Hakes that'll be with me on 7/18. So that'll be the Monday before San Diego. Then I'm not really sure what's going to happen during the week of San Diego. Of course, we're not going to have a Dueling Dealers show. Anthony was like, I should stream my CAF update live. It's just going to be too problematic. We had so many problems. Well, it wasn't too bad when we were in Heroes, but in San Diego, it's West Coast time. The show is still going on when we would normally go live. So my plan for San Diego is to record a lot of video. I will definitely pre-record the CAF update and show it on that Thursday, but there won't be any live interaction. And so yeah, it'll be almost a week without having any real live streams going on here. So that'll be weird. But hey, we'll be back with a vengeance when we come back after San Diego. So then we'll have a regular Dueling Dealer show on the 27th. I've got artist Dennis Cowan lined up for Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern on the 30th of July. And then I've mentioned these last week as well. I'm still working out the details. I will have Gerhard on again with a lot of Cerebus artwork. It will either be in November or December. And I mean, I told them that we should probably try to lean towards early November, if at all possible, because I wanted to keep it away from the holidays, and I wanted to keep them at least a week or two ahead of the next Comic Art Live, which is the third weekend in November. So my hope is we'll do Gerhard probably in the first week in November if I have my way. Bart Sears is also going to be on the show. Mike Vosberg again. We've got an amateur show with Mickey and DJ. I floated them. I basically told them pick a Monday in August, and I haven't heard back from them yet. Or maybe I did, but they haven't picked a date yet. So hopefully I'll have word from them soon. And I've had a few emails with Cadence. We're still working out the details on that. My feeling is if we do when we start this, it'll probably be in September, and hopefully do them monthly. But I'll be working with Cadence and probably doing an interview and an art sale with one artist per month, starting then. And do I want picks, Chris? I don't know, Chris. I think let's think about that. I know I figured I was going to do my 10 picks, but I wasn't sure if I was going to take 10 more picks as well. Let's see. So outside of that, so it's going to be busy no matter what coming up here with the art sales. And I even had a collector contact me that wants to do their own kind of art drop like we had with Michael Finn a couple weeks back. And so, and the stuff that they would be bringing would be things that you haven't seen probably on the market in 25 years, 15 to 25 years. I probably should say it like that, but good stuff. Very well-known collector, doesn't share their whole collection on CAF, but they're very interested in doing a show. So that should be teaser enough. But it will be great if I can work that out with them. I mean, they definitely want to do it because they approached me. It's now just a question of finalizing a date when we're going to do it. But it should happen pretty soon. Nick Brucci, I don't know. Did everybody hit the thumbs up yet? If not, you should have. And you know where it is. Just do it. So. Thank you, Nick, for reminding me. But why don't I go ahead and talk about the what should we talk about next? You know what, Mikhail, I should pull. Talking about San Diego. Ben Saunders, who also did the Marvel exhibit along with Chuck Costas. They, as far as kind of wrangling in the original art that was going to be for that show. They first did the Marvel show. Now Ben has put together the Spider-Man exhibit that is at Balboa Park, a museum in Balboa Park. And I know Mikhail went there last week. It looks awesome. I've been reading a lot of press about it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to the show, but fingers crossed that I will. I've seen about half of the artwork because Mike contributed half of it. That was, if you recall, like 3 months ago. I had mentioned when we went to see the Marvel exhibit. The reason we did that was because Ben Saunders was in Ohio and he was picking art out from Mike's exclusive, Spider-Man collection stuff that even I've never seen before because it's locked away. But that was what was going on that evening, was him picking up a lot of art from Mike. So let me go ahead and show the clip here that Mikhail so graciously put together for us, and it looks awesome. I mean, I feel like I have to go one way or another. And And as you saw there, Patrick Reed, I always forget Patrick's name, but Patrick also was one of the, well, he was in Ohio when Ben was picking through the art at Mike's place. He also was a co-contributor putting together the Marvel exhibit and the Spider-Man exhibit. So Patrick, I always omit his name, but yeah, he's played a pivotal role in there, along with Ben and of course Chuck Hostis for the Marvel exhibit as well. So Berkey out front in costume. No, I don't think Berkey's that trim, Rich, unfortunately. So no, that's definitely not Berkey. Could be his brother, but not Mike. So yeah, what are you going to do about that? So, but yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm going to do my best to get over there to see it. I can't see if it would suck if I didn't get over there. But you know, the thing is, it has a really nice feel. I would imagine they worked with the same kind of event designers that did the Marvel exhibit, because it has a very similar feel to it. And you know, I'm sure Ben probably had a say in whom they got to work with as far as putting together the space, because it feels very similar to the way the Marvel exhibit was set up. And yeah, so I'm going to give it a shot. Hopefully, I'll be able to make it over there. I know Ben asked me to go, but I don't. It doesn't sound like they have like an organized outing over there. So we'll see. Quick two, says Mikhail. That's good. Mikhail, sorry. See, I'm still doing it, Mikhail. One of these days, it'll be wiped from my brain. But hey, let's keep this thing rolling, because I said I was going to be quick tonight, and of course we're already past an hour. So one thing I did want to remind everybody about is that Columbus get together on the it's August 12th and 13th. That's a Friday and a Saturday. We're going to be going to the Billy Ireland Cartoon Library and Museum on Friday from 1 to 5. That is on the Ohio State campus, and pretty much that is where we will meet up. And the museum is only open 1 to 5 Monday through Friday, which is why this isn't a Saturday Sunday event, and probably why I've never been to the Billy Ireland, because they're not open on weekends at all. I guess unless they have, like, Columbus has a few special art happenings in the summer. I think the museum is sometimes open on a Saturday, but most of the time not. But I think Billy Ireland, we're going to get a behind the scenes tour on how they store the art. They're going to be pulling out probably 100 artworks in their collection for us to look at. And it'll be works from Bill Watterson to Schultz to Frazetta, Starlin, Kirby, you know, you name it, Kniff. We'll be able to pretty much see any originals that are in their collection that we asked for in advance. And I've kind of given them a list of artists that I want them to select from. And if anybody is interested, I can send you the link. They actually have a searchable database of the original artwork that they have in their collection. And anybody who's going to Columbus with us and is attending on Friday, I can give you that link, and you can kind of search through it as well. And I think as long as we give them about a week's notice, they will they're happy to kind of pull anything that we want to show. They have a rather large reading room that they call it, and they'll pretty much have a couple people watching us while we're looking at it, of course, but they'll lay all the artwork out for us, and we can pretty much look at anything that we want while we're there. So it should be a lot of fun. And I know that they do have a Charles Schultz exhibit going on right now as well. So, you know, again, lots to see. We probably won't get to see everything we'd like to see in the 4 hours that we'll be there. But Friday evening, we'll have dinner someplace downtown Columbus. Saturday morning, we have I probably should hype it. I mean, I'm renting a very large meeting room at the hotel that we're staying at, and from 10 until 2 on Saturday, we'll basically have a in-person Comic Art Live, Comic Art Fans Con, CAFCon, if you will. And I know Mike Berkey's going to be there, Jay Giant's going to be there, Got Superpowers is going to be there, so we're going to have art for sale. Bob Berkheimer, who is a local, I wouldn't call him an art dealer, he's more of a comics dealer, but he has a considerable amount of original art. He'll be bringing that with him as well. And I believe there was one other person who mentioned they were going to be bringing art for sale. So it'll be like a con, but at the same time, if you're just a collector wanting to set up, we'll have tables set aside for anybody that just kind of wants to open up their portfolios and let other people look at them. And if you want to buy, sell, trade too, I don't care. It's just really meant for us to kind of get together and hang out in a relaxed environment on a Saturday morning. So after we're done with that, though, we will head over to the Marvel exhibit. It's within walking distance of the hotel. So I think I was planning on a 3 o'clock appointment to get there, and you can really walk through the whole exhibit in about an hour. And I believe they let people into it until 5. So if we actually got there at 3 and hung out there for 2 hours, we'd see everything that we could possibly want to see more than once while we were there. And again, that night we'll have dinner someplace as well. I am asking for $50 to anybody who's doing the events on Saturday. It's pretty much just going to go to cover the admittance to the Marvel exhibit. The Marvel exhibit actually costs $45 a person if you go by yourself, but they're giving us a group rate, and the room is pretty affordable. So at the end of the day, if I have any money left over from that, anybody who's going out to dinner with us on Saturday, I'll be using the money left over to buy appetizers, a round of drinks, you name it. But it's a not-for-profit event. I just want to kind of cover my expenses at least for it. And if you there's a link in the show description on YouTube, but you can go over to the event page on Facebook, and there's a link for the hotel information. I've got a decent rate, $149 a night. So depending on, and it's good Thursday through Saturday evening. So if you had to come in the night before because you were had to travel, the rate's good for the night before. We're all getting together as well. I can't promise that I'll be there Thursday night, but I will definitely be there by Friday morning. So again, something to consider. This is really the first kind of foray into doing my own kind of in-person meetup, but it's a good opportunity, being that both of those things are in Columbus, and the Marvel exhibit's in Columbus, I think, until the first week of September, and then it's moving on to someplace else. So wanted to get this in before they move, and I permanently move out of here, because I should be out of Ohio by the end of August. So at least that's my hope. All right, got that one off my list. A couple more things to do before we get to the CAF update, but they can be quick. First up is Heritage, as you know, sponsors the show, and as I've said, they just wanted their name at the beginning, and I told them I wanted to do picks every week just to make it fun for me, so I'm not just kind of showing their name. So I'm doing a little bit of work for them, and I've gotten some positive feedback about it. Some people have emailed me saying, it's a good thing you're doing this, or I would have missed that artwork. So here's 10 pieces from Heritage this week that just went live this morning. So first up is a Joe Jusko Batman painting from 1989. I believe it's an unpublished piece, but very cool. It's I'm sure it's going to go a lot higher than 925, but you know, I love Joe's work. He's awesome. You know, his figurative work is top notch. I mean, as far as anatomy, he's got that down, like Frazetta did, right? And next up, keeping with the Batman thing, I've got a Paul Pope selection here, and I don't know why that one's highlighted, but anyway, Paul Pope, Batman. I think we've seen a few of those in Felix's drops. Then I picked this Gene Colan because I just like the you know, kind of the layout of the piece, Big Ben and everything in the background. This is a Tomb of Dracula splash page. Dracula, yeah, tongue-tied with this Canada Dry Bold ginger ale I've been drinking. So I like this one. But then as I was kind of scrolling through, I saw this other piece that I would actually be bidding on if I didn't already have a really nice, this thing would go away, Doctor Strange page by Cullen. And this one's, I believe this is Cullen and Dan Green from issue 37. But this is, you know, a lot of Clea in it, a lot of haunches, I guess, as Anthony would say, but really, really nice page. And if you're a fan of Cullen's work, and, you know, I like Cullen Palmer, or Cullen Green is just as good. So this is a nice page. I didn't even see where it's at, but, you know, it'll fetch a decent price because it's a definite desirable piece. And of course, Johnny, thank you for pointing this out. I did actually see it earlier when I was doing my picks, but everybody knows I want a Bill Sienkiewicz New Mutants page. And so see, even when I want something, I don't mind letting everybody else know it's out there as well. I won't be a player on this one because I'm not in the market for a Bill Sienkiewicz New Mutants page at the moment. Maybe after I get settled down in Florida, I can think about it again. But yeah, it's a decent page from what was it, issue 31. Don Heck did a really nice piece here. Iron Man, Tony Stark, of course. Don Heck, first artist on Iron Man. This is a sketch from '94, so 28 years old, and pretty nice. I wouldn't mind owning this one, and I'm sure it's not $54 anymore. But again, really nice piece there. So back over to DC. You know, I really like this piece just for that middle panel. It's like Flash, right? But it's Superman. And this is a Swan Anderson Action Comics page, but for me, the middle panel is awesome. I would love to own this page. See, if I remember, I always talked about wanting to own a Kurt Swan piece. This would be a good one. I would, if Berkey had this, I would put this in like a hold pile because I love that middle panel so much. Then Al Milgram Solo Avengers page, all Black Widow on that one, kind of cool. I thought that was you know, it's that I don't know. Did Miller do that costume. I mean, I remember Miller's run had Black Widow in this costume, but anyway, the I guess a different kind of look for her, but I always thought it was okay. She kind of made her look more like a ninja, right? And a couple more here. First up, Ross Andrew, Joe Sinnott, FF, DPS. This is one of those ones like the Man Thing page that I did not win. I hate to tell you. This is where when Marvel was trying to save money on page rates, and so they were getting the artists to draw essentially 2 pages on one, or 2 printed pages on one piece of paper, because they were paying the artist on a page. So essentially they were getting 2 pages of art for the price of one. And this is just a nice page. I mean, again, but for me, it's kind of more historic. I always wanted to own one of these pages where from that period. I think it was only like it lasted a month or two. I think the artists revolted or something. They should have if they didn't. When Marvel was trying that out. Then this is a Lee Elias Sunday strip, Beyond Mars. I mean, I'm not familiar with Beyond Mars, but Lee Elias is one of those strip artists that, along with Kniff, and now that I have one. Lee Elias is somebody whose work I really, really, really love. I'd love to get something war-related from him. So even though this is kind of cool, it's probably not something I'd go after. But I've seen, I forget what war story books he illustrated back in the day, but his figurative work is just awesome. I mean, I love the characterizations on the faces. I mean, he's just an excellent artist, and yeah, he's definitely on my list of somebody to pick something up from. And finally, a Fastener Larson Incredible Hulk piece. This was in a Marvel portfolio, and I forget what year was it. 80? Yeah, 1980. So, growing up on Marvel and loving Marvel, and I actually picked up. I own a couple of the Marvel portfolio stuff. I have the X-Men one, but I never got this one. But I'd love to get a piece by Fastener and Larson one day. I mean, something that they both worked on. So, this one's pretty good example as well. So I wouldn't mind picking up something from them. Probably not that piece. I'm not a big Hulk guy, but nice artwork there. So those are my picks. But yeah, I didn't win the Man Thing. I actually told I haven't been Heritage in a long time. So when Dueling Dealers, I was working the prep on it, I told Mike what my max bid was, and he's like, "Oh, you should get it," And so I'm like, "Yeah, I should." There's no way. There's nobody that likes Man Thing that much for even though it was essentially a DPS on one board. So I made a reasonable bid, and I was still out. I think it went for over $4,000. So again, that just shows you I guess there's more Man Thing fans out there than I knew, and I'm going to have to step up to the plate if I'm ever going to get a page like that again. So live and learn, everybody. I mean, it's we all get bit by the way the hobby is right now, as far as where the prices are at. It's tough. It really is. It's difficult when you see something decent like that. I mean, I hate to say it. Okay, I didn't feature a piece of art in there because I thought, I'm not going to show it tonight. But I'll tell you, it's in there because I know I'm not going to be able to afford it. And that was in this weekly auction. Is a Dave Cockrum Wolverine convention sketch, and it's nice. It's not, it's probably from, I'll take a wild guess and say late 80s, maybe early 90s, but probably late 80s. And it's perfect. It's everything you'd want in a Wolverine convention sketch. It's no shaky lines. No, it's clean. It's really, really nice. And I'm going to put a bid on it. I'll probably bid as much as I did on the Man Thing, but I'm not going to get it, unfortunately. I remember we sold a couple of those on the Dueling Dealers back in the first 5 or 6 episodes. I think Mike had one and Anthony had one, and they both sold them for $1,000. And I look back on that now, and there's no way that piece sells for probably less than $3,200. And it could sell for a little more because it's honestly one of the better Wolverine convention sketches by Cockrum that I've seen in a while, and because I've always got my eye out for him. But need more mutants. Well, there you go, Larry. I'm throwing a mutant pick out there that I wasn't going to show off because I thought maybe I could help it stay under the radar. But yeah, it's not going to. It's going to go for a lot of money. See, there you go, Michael. I mean, I like it too. I hope they do too. I haven't really gotten any feedback from Heritage about doing it. But every time somebody sends me a positive email, I forward it on to them just to say, hey, I think I'm doing okay for you. So okay. So before we get to the cap update, one final thing is the EXP promo. Nick's got a fun show planned for tomorrow at 7 o'clock on the EXP. He is going to be doing, well, I don't know if I'm supposed to say. Okay, I'm not going to say. I think Nick might say some of this in the preview. I'm going to show you right now, and if he doesn't, well, I won't do it for him. But here you go. This is the EXP promo for tomorrow at 7 o'clock on the EXP channel, both on YouTube and Facebook and all the other places that they stream to.
Everybody, Friday, July 8th, 7 p.m. As if there's any other time to watch the original art experience. Thor Love and Thunder hits, okay? Before you go see the movie, tune into the original art experience. Why not, right? All right, let's talk about some of the art, because my jokes only ever get worse. We are going to have, oh look, Loki. I'm going to jump around here, make Amy's job a little bit tougher. Check out this from Loki number 5, page 22. Captain America, some of the items we didn't get to last week. Steve Epting. 2 pages from issue 18. I love it. I am so excited. I'm going to leave that there. Then we have John Romita Jr. I love John Romita Jr. I'm still upset that I sold the other 3 pages last week, but hey, that's the way that rolls. A little bit of Great Lake Avengers. Although I got to tell you, this makes me think of The Boys and Termite, but if you didn't see it, you may not be... never mind, I'm not going there. Then we have Avengers, Walt Simonson, Scott Hanna. We have a little bit of Superman. Oh, only have 1 DC. Then we have Warriors 3 going in with the Thor. The Guardians of the Galaxy are in the Thor movie. So we're going to have one of those pages. And we are going to have Jack Kirby, inked by one of my favorite artists, Bill Everett. What a unique combination. Ringmaster, Circus of Crime, Ulick. It is awesome. But there's a little bit more. We are going to give away Gore the God Killer. This commission cover art, God Butcher, sorry. Thank you, Amy. This commission cover art by Ken Hazer will be given away. Gotta tune in, no purchase necessary, but you will need to tune in. Then we're gonna have Moon Knight. I don't think we've had Moon Knight on our show, but I could be wrong. And then, hey, Galactic Gods are everywhere. Why not Thanos? So, Friday, July 8th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And listen, do us all a favor, help grow the experience. We're trying to grow the original art community. Hit that thumbs up. Have a great one. See you Friday at 7.
Nick, you're so good at that, man. Does somebody hold cue cards up there for you? Because I can never get through a 2-minute pitch like you can. I mean, and you probably do it on 1 take, I bet, don't you? So thank you, Nick, for giving me these all the time. I appreciate it, and I definitely love all the work that you're doing over there on the channel every Friday at 7 p.m. Nick says he wings it. Well, you're a natural, Nick. We already knew that. You've got a lot of experience at it, but man, you're fantastic doing those. I could never do it. So, all right, on to the calf update. But hey, everybody, hit the thumbs up. Thumbs up, everybody. Just let's get as many of those as we can before the show is over. But let's see, calf update for the week. This is from June 27th through July 3rd. A bad week for dealers, but a good week for the auction houses in a couple different reasons. But as far as the overall sales for dealers, $205,000 in sales, and that's compared to $325,000 from the week before. I mean, I'd say the average, I mean, I'm sure you all would agree, dealers are typically in that 280 to 325 range. So to have only 205,000 in a week is a little peculiar. I'm not sure why. I mean, I guess maybe the lead up to the holiday, they just weren't posting as much. I really wasn't paying too close attention to the amount of artworks that were being added to the dealer websites that week as well. Felix Comic Art led the way. 59 sales, just under $60,000. Panel Page had 5 sales for 38. Will 3 sales for 31. Anthony 41 sales for 26, and then Ramita Man had 14 sales, $21,000. And what I'm going to go ahead and show you right now is the top 6 sales from dealers from last week. So first up, from Will Gabrielle. This is by Jim Apparel. This is from the Brave and the Bold 114. This is a complete 17-page story. 1978, and asking price on this one was $29,000. Not a bad deal for 22 pages. I imagine that's what that was. Next up, this is from Glenn, panel page. This is by Jack Kirby. It's from Fantastic Four 38, page 12. Really, really nice page there. Asking price on that one was $28,000. Next up, this is a Rumble issue. Let's see, it says Image 30th Anniversary cover by James Herron for $10,000. And then we've got a Romita Man piece. This is by Joe Shuster. This is, of course, Superman. And the asking price on this one from Mike was $10,000. Now, I'm not really sure on these because I know I meant to ask Felix about them. This is listed as a commission example, and I know that he does roll his commissions into the market data, and he has this one at $6,000. And I'm not sure if Chris Stevens they're all at $6,000, or maybe these were like super cover quality. I mean, they're amazing, because here's the second one by Chris, and it was $6,000 as well from Felix. I'll have to ask him about that, because I don't remember seeing those pieces on CAF or appear on CAF. But hey, Chris does amazing work. $6,000 on a commission. I mean, maybe it's giant size, or maybe he kind of listed these, because I know a couple times when Felix has listed his commission sales in his overall sales, he does kind of bundle a few things every now and again. But my bad for not asking him in advance. So I saw it and I did not ask him. Well, there you go. They were probably super large then, Tim. You're absolutely right. Wall power, as Felix likes to say, right? So, all right. Yes, I will. I'll confirm it with him, though, because I was curious. But hey, commission prices are what they are anymore, right? I know that Felix's guys command some pretty hefty prices, but the work that you end up getting and the fact that many of them end up becoming covers is definitely worth the price. So auction houses had a good week last week. $582,000 as compared to, what was it, $344 the week before. Now there was one special auction that I don't include in the little video clip that I'm going to show. Heritage had a underground comics showcase auction, and it ended, I think, late last week, and there were 61 pieces that sold in that auction for $139,000. So of the 582, 139 of that came from this underground comic showcase auction. Two pieces by S. Clay Wilson. One sold for $15,600, and the other piece sold for $9,000. And then a Gilbert Shelton piece, who's Furry Freak Brothers page, no less, sold for $13,200. I mean, I love Gilbert Shelton's work, so I mean, I'll probably never be able to afford anything by him, but I think you can check out his artwork over at comicartfactory.com. Frederick, who owns that over in Europe, I don't think he reps Gilbert, but he's been selling a lot of art for him. So that's some place to kind of check if you're into that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, Heritage Weekly reached $309,000 in sales. So we'll check out the top three from Heritage. But I mean, Heritage typically doesn't go over 150, 140 is more typical for them. eBay was 133, but 309 for Heritage in a weekly auction is pretty impressive. I don't know, if we've been talking about that a bit. Heritage has been having some higher end pieces in their weekly auctions, and I think it's starting to kind of come around to where we're seeing these really high prices now coming out of the weekly auctions as well. Just more competition on Wednesday nights for your cash, since the Dueling Dealers is every Wednesday night as well. But here are the top 6 sales. Well, top 3 from eBay, top 3 from Heritage, from the auction houses last week. So eBay is first, of course, and there's your total for the week from both eBay and Heritage. This is a Joe Jusko Death Wish Coffee Presents. Now, they had it listed for $5,950 as the selling price. It actually sold with a make offer for $4,500. Anthony should lower his. I think he has his at $6,000. Next up, Don Perlin Werewolf by Night page. This is from issue 32, page 1. And this one went for $2,500. And what do we got here? An Art Germ piece. This one was Jane Watson sketch cover, of course, and it sold for $3,000 on eBay. That was their top 3. Now the top 3 from Heritage First up, the one everybody was talking about last Thursday and Wednesday, the Tony DeZuniga All-Star Western. Number 10 cover prelim that sold for $36,000. And next up, Dave Cockrum's Superboy page. That middle panel is freaking awesome. This is from Superboy 193. It's page 2. Went for $14,400. And finally, this John Romita Sr. Amazing Spider-Man 18 page went for $13,200. And that's a combination you're not going to see too often, is it? Byrne and Romita Sr. So although all three of those from Heritage were pretty impressive. First hex. Yes, CJ. I should have mentioned that when we were looking at that. But yeah, and again, that I would buy that Cochran page, even though it's DC, even though it's Superboy. I mean, that's just a beautiful example of there from Dave. So yeah, I love that one. And I agree, Rich, a nutty price for a prelim, but what would the cover go for? And I think that we're seeing prelim prices gradually rise. I mean, that one's well past probably what anybody was expecting, but if you can't own the cover, the prelim nowadays is the next best thing. So yeah. and like Nick just said, it was an insane price for the Superboy. It was an insane price for the Man Thing DPS. I mean, what a week. It's but all the thing is, if you look at all those pieces, including the Man Thing piece, they're all like, really great examples. I mean, it's not like a mediocre piece like maybe we might have seen in Heritage Weekly auctions from 4 or 5 years ago, right, or whatever. I mean, even their weekly auctions are turning out some pretty stellar pieces. When I went through the what was posted for their current weekly auction, there were a lot of other pieces I could have picked, but I was trying to steer clear and always kind of at least promote different artists. But again, they're really rolling out some great stuff. So Caesar just says he didn't buy it. All right. But it was a highly detailed prelim. I completely agree on all points. So, all right, moving right along. We've got Eric has been patiently waiting, enjoying the show from his home. So here, let me bring him into the stream here with me. Eric.
Oh, hey, Bill. How's it going?
Oh, it's going well. What are you doing?
Well, Heroes is just another year away, and with all the arm wrestling that was going on, I figured I needed to bulk up, and I need about a year to get ready for dealing with Chris and Fish and James. So, I was just watching the show and trying to get a workout in.
I didn't want to tell. I could see you down there in the green room just pumping iron. I didn't know what you were doing, but now I know. I hope it works out for you because Fish is definitely the man to beat.
I need the work, plain and simple.
Rick Walsh says he's been working on some 12-ounce girls, I guess. All right, Moonbat. Yes, Moonbat, Mikhail, has made an appearance here. Let me highlight this. This was a special edition T-shirt that came out for Heroes by our own Mikhail. I think it even says something about Comic Art Fans, special something or other down there in small print, but it's a Heroes hero. Wonderful. Art by Aranga, everybody. And it was so awesome to see so many people wearing those. I wore mine the day after I got back from the con.
Yeah, great shirt. Had to put it on.
Exactly. Mikhail was giving out the goodies. We got the what would Bill do buttons and the shirts, and yeah, I mean it's definitely Heroes is still with me, right? I mean, it was such a fun show. I know you had a good time, right?
I had a fantastic time, and it's the first time I've ever been to Heroes. Seeing everybody, meeting everybody, seeing them in person. I mean, it was just fantastic. Got to see you in person for the first time. Of course, one of the first comments was, "You're a lot taller than I expected you to be."
Yeah, I think you were the first person to tell me that, and then like 6 other people told me that.
Yeah. No, it was fantastic. It's one of the first cons I've been to in years after the pandemic and everything, and it was just absolutely fantastic. Yes, I did finish my study commission.
Right?
What's that?
The trip home wasn't excellent.
No, the trip home was not great. Chris and I were actually on the same flight, and after like numerous delays, they finally got us onto the plane, and they had us sitting there, and then, oh, don't you know, the plane was canceled. The flight was canceled. So we had to get off of that, and we got into this gigantic line in order to try to see what we could do. And of course, there was nothing that they could do. We ended up getting a hotel close to the airport. And as we all know, the most prime real estate is close to the airport. the safest, the cleanest, and the best accommodations are close to the airport. After I killed the roach in my room, which is legit, I have a picture for it. Went to bed, and we ended up spending an additional night in Charlotte. But then we're able to get a flight not back home, but close to home, and then a drive back from that. So still worth it. Still worth it. The show was absolutely fantastic. Even going through that, I would have gone through it again, 100%.
Wow. Well, it was all kind of downhill there at the end, but hey, you came back in one piece. You've got a story to tell.
Yeah, I've got a few stories to tell.
Yeah, but no tattoos though. No tattoo, at least on me.
No, not until Tuesday.
I know that thing was incredible, man. I don't know
Not
how.
until Tuesday. So the Spidey arm is coming together. I've got a plan for the rest of it. I've got 2 more big pieces and then a bunch of fill-ins, but I'm going to be doing the Romita, the heads, just the profile shots of all of that. And we did get extra cuddle time. We didn't really want to talk about that, Chuck, but it's out there. So yeah, we did. We absolutely did.
Oh man, Chuck, you were the life of the party too, man. You were so much fun to meet in person and to hang out with. It was Heroes was such a great time. I mean,
It was.
They need to do that like 4 times a year. Okay, maybe that might be overkill. Twice a year.
Well, let's go 3 times a year.
All right, we'll meet in the middle on that one.
Yeah.
So Alfredo asked you, did Lee Weeks finally finish?
Lee Weeks did finish my Spidey commission after me bugging him so much that I think he was getting a little sick of me stopping by his table. But he did finish it. I've got it posted in my calf, and I'm really, really super happy with it. It was fantastic.
I didn't. Somehow I missed you posting that in your calf. I'm gonna have to check it out after the show. And I did link to your calf gallery in the write up. Cool. That I don't know if I posted the write up. I should let me put it in the screen in the chat here because I always forget to do that. Right there, as everybody knows, with these calf updates, I kind of pull it all together into one write up as well, and it goes live in this evening. So you can check it out there. Any of the artworks that Eric and I are going to talk about are linked in there, but then all the the heritage auction stuff, the dealer pieces, all of that is outlined in there as well. So it's a good summary of what we do here on the CAF update that I push out every Thursday as well. So check that out. All right, well, let me get this share screen set up here for you.
Sure.
You get to go first, Eric.
Sounds good.
And you actually picked yours first. I had mine. I was literally going to send you an email in about 5 minutes after I'd gotten yours, and we only had one match.
One overlap, but it is a beauty. It is, as long as it's shown, that's the only thing that matters.
Right. No, it was that was the one and only piece that I knew had to be in there. I mean, I picked a different image for the show image because I hadn't seen that one, but then when I went back and reviewed everything, I was like, holy mackerel, that was the best piece of art added on CAF last week.
It's just phenomenal.
But I get to talk about it first.
It is your show, after all.
Well, that's true. All right, well, let's get your 10 picks on the screen here. Let me resize this screen just a little bit.
All right, so, starting off, we've got to go ahead and start with something Spider-Man. And anybody that knows me knows that I'm a big fan of David Finch. I mean, the amount of detail and grittiness that David Finch brings. And there's kind of be a little bit of a theme here in terms of my picks this week. And this is one of those ones where I love to see when Marvel goes a little bit to the darker side. And, Marvel is definitely, typically a little bit more on the playful side here. But, Finch just really brings it with this. We've got this amazing left page with this panel split where all of the conflicting diagonals and everything like this are just really adding to the chaos and the action there. And then you go into those 3 panels with that just incredibly visceral shot of Spider-Man just punching right through Doom. And it's just fantastic. I mean, I absolutely love Finch's artwork. And when I saw this, I said, this is just got to be on my list. It's just so fantastic.
No, it really, really is. I mean, for consecutive pages, I mean, it's nice to see it this way too. Typically, CAF collectors will separate the pieces separate, items posted. But I like the fact that this one's together. I mean, that first panel with Doom, just awesome. And I wish the images were bigger. It's, this is one of those ones where it's like, I'd love to be able to zoom in on this like you can, like at the heritage auctions, where you can just like literally go in and look at every ink line. But yeah, this is a doozy. I mean, it really is great. I love the panel breakup on that left panel. I mean, I just think it's just dynamic. I mean, the way he's done that, but clean. It's not like what's that?
And then another thing that Finch does that's so fantastic and so great about seeing these 2 pages here is that there's a great dichotomy in the fact on the left you've got the black border and the anarchy and the chaos, and then you go to the right and it's white and it's clean and there's a grid there and it's very well established. I mean, it's thinking about those elements of the storytelling of one page to the next that the masters do it, and here it is on display. And when you get to see them both side by side, it's just a visceral experience, and it's really, really cool.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, I love it. I mean, every panel's great. I mean, look at even the top panel on the right page is just fantastic.
Well, and you got Black Cat in there too. I mean, it's cool, and it's rare. It's rare to see Finch doing Spider-Man. I mean, you're generally more in Punisher. You're generally more in Batman. And so, it's a no-brainer for me.
Well, Matt asked, "Boy, that's a nice addition there. I've got it like now. It is for sale though, everybody, as you can see, but that's okay. It's okay. We can show for sale art. Matt's always got a good collection of original art. So, what do we got next here? Oh, yeah, maybe is everything gonna be Spider-Man tonight?
No, not everything, but we're front loading a few pieces. And I mean, but the art speaks for itself. And this is, you've got Ed McGuinness doing a variant for the Spider-Man 900 cover. And it's just, I mean, take a look at the detail here. Take a look at the perspective. And this is what McGuinness can bring to a wraparound cover like this. And it's just absolutely insane. I mean, I've spent hours looking at this, taking a look at it's just a masterclass in terms of perspective, in terms of detail. And something like this could be so busy and so difficult to understand where your eye's supposed to go. But Ed is so masterful in bringing in that big giant hand that's wrapping directly around into Spider-Man's hand that follows through, the Doc Ock claw and everything as it goes through. And exactly, Alfredo hits it. It's the Sinister Six all in one character. Mm-hmm. It's just so fantastic. And this is, and I'm a big fan of McGuinness as well. And then this with Spider-Man, it just hits it out of the ballpark.
Yeah, no, it really is awesome. I mean, even the characters are very dynamic and distorted, but the city, even though you're looking at it and it's like, man, it feels the perspective's right, but it also feels like it's warping, and it's probably mostly because the characters above it. I bet if we ever try to draw lines on here for the perspective, it's probably all like perfect, but it almost feels like it's kind of warping around them because of the way that he's got the webbing and Doc Ock's tentacles. I mean, it's just an amazing piece.
It gives it that fisheye lens appeal, and it's dizzying. I mean, it's actually dizzying to look down. And I was actually sharing these pics with my son, and he was taking a look at it, and he just goes, "Look, you can even see the people." And I go, "No, James, those are cars." He's like, "No, on the sidewalk, there's people." And I hadn't even looked at that level of detail. And I mean, it's just the amount of additional effort that goes into that some people would just go ahead and ignore, but it's right here. Yeah, vertigo. Marcus hit it. I mean, it can give you that sense of vertigo, and that the sense of the height is really there. It's fantastic.
All right, and Robert's buying books. So it's a good read. I have not read it, but very, very nice. Really, really nice work. I've always loved McGuinness's work, but yeah, this one's killer. This is really, really good. And I didn't see the people either. I'm glad your kid was looking closer at this stuff than we were. But
he has better eyes. He has better eyes. He's younger.
Yeah. You don't wear glasses?
Oh, I've got contacts.
You got contacts. All right.
I'm blind as a bat.
All right, Jason, Sean, Alexander.
So we're starting to move a little bit away from Spidey, I promise. But Jason, Sean, Alexander. It's there's something that I absolutely love is when an artist takes a character that's so well established and then redefines them. And what you've got here is you've obviously got Sienkiewicz vibes. I mean, you've got a lot of different influences here. but you have, again, taking again more of I mean, I'm a Marvel guy. But Marvel doesn't go as dark as DC does in a lot of different ways. And right here, you have such a great reimagination of Green Goblin that is just terrifying. I mean, the splatter effect that adds to the just the motion and the chaos of this. And you get a little bit of a Joker vibe in there. You've got the same color palette as well, and you've got that big open grin and that maw, and it's just incredible. And it's a reimagination of a character that is so well known, so well loved, and yet here it is, and it's even though it's completely different, it's 100% recognizable right off the bat, and it's just really and the contrast that they add into this, it's just such a stark piece. It's beautiful.
It is. Mr. Easy-Go-Lucky asked the size. It's not in the description. I know that Jason usually works really large when he's doing his published work. And if this was a commission, or what is it? I didn't even bother to look and see how it's commissioned. It's hard to say. I mean, it's got to be at least 11 by 17. But again, he usually works on his published work. It's usually like almost 2 by 3 foot. So that'd be worth asking the owner how large it is, but very, very awesome stuff. I love Jason's work a great deal. And it was the one thing I didn't like, when we were talking with like a month ago, I remember him telling us that he was kind of moving digitally to do interiors and things, and it's like, oh man, his work is so dynamic, so visceral. I mean, you can tell he puts a lot of heart and soul into his work, and I just want to see more traditional work like this one from him.
Yeah, and I'm an old school guy in that fact too. That, I mean, there's a lot of amazing digital work that goes out there, but to me, it does not compare to the traditional. And just recently, this past week, I saw that Ivan Coelho he posted some things on Twitter of the fact that he was going back to doing some traditional work, and seeing that, I mean, that was amazing. So I always love seeing it in the traditional, for sure.
Yep, agreed. And this is in JP Crusher's calf gallery. I don't believe I've been in JP's calf gallery in a while, so I'll have to check that out after the show.
Yeah, well, that piece crushes it, so.
Yes, it does. All right, so we were speaking to Simon Got Superpowers earlier, who will be at the Columbus show with me, and I hope several of you as well in August. So this is awesome Sin City piece by Matthew Allison.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much to say other than, I mean, this is incredible. It's instantly recognizable as Allison. Mm-hmm. And what a better character than Marv to go ahead and really dive into what Allison does best. The amount of detail that's in here, and I'm really starting to gravitate more toward these wonderful artists that unfortunately are going to go blind in a couple of years because of the amount of detail that they painstakingly put into these pieces. But every piece of this is covered in detail. Even the blacks are so intentional because the stark black then highlights the crucifix. The black in the background just completely frames the character, and the pen work on this is it's so fragile and yet so crisp and clean. It's just absolutely beautiful. That hand alone I could look at for just so long, and then the wrinkles in the sleeve, it's just an amazing piece. Really, really, really just struck me, and I had to include this.
Nope, I agree. I mean, he's it's hard to describe his style. It's very kind of like that independent cartoony style, but man, it's so slick. I've loved his stuff. I have one piece by him, kind of a con sketch commission type piece, but this thing's just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, nobody's really working quite like he is. He's got the way he's done the perspective on this and done the composition of the piece. Like you said, it's so very interesting, and it's unlike an approach that you would expect from artists today. But he just kind of, like you said, hands perfect, face is perfect. Yes. This is an absolutely beautiful piece.
It's almost, I mean, and I'll probably take some heat for this, but it's almost like Harry Crumb evolved. I mean, and you're talking about that composition, and all of that has been thought of. I mean, you've got those diagonal lines that follow through with the arm. I mean, these are intentional choices that these artists are making to be able to draw your eye through the piece. And it's one of the reasons it's just so amazing to look at. Just beautiful.
Nope. If I could like it twice, I would do it.
Yep.
All right. So Glenn Dillon. This
Yeah.
is in Daniel Ashton's calf gallery.
And so, and so I saw this, and full disclosure, didn't know a lot about Glenn Dillon at all. Had to go ahead and do some web research and take a look at some of the work and everything. But this piece, the amount of detail that's on this, it's almost like, to me, a mix of like a cartoon meets Darrow, and it all comes together. And then you've got some beautiful zipatone work in there, and the detail in the detail in the boots, the detail in the guitar, and the perspective on this is just perfect. The illustrative quality of this is just stunning, and it's using a lot of playful techniques to really bring forward that image. And it's again, I don't know a whole lot about the artist, but this just was absolutely stunning to me.
Chris Lutz mentions big designer for modern Star Wars stuff. Yeah, I'm not familiar with their work either. But yeah, no, really. Actually, I'm going to close this because it's hard to see the whole image. But
Yeah.
There we go. Sometimes big scans aren't good, right?
Right.
But no, this is really cool. And I always marvel at the people who can use zipatone and do it well, because I would look at something like that and because clearly there's different tightnesses to the patterns and the weights, and I just couldn't do it. But you look at these pieces and they're just.
Well, and you look at the fact that you've got the hand lettering in there, and you've got the whiteout or gouache on that, and there's also elements in this that make me think like are reminiscent of like Tank Girl and some of those other influences. It gives me a little bit of a Mad Magazine type of a feel too as well. There's just a lot of things that are here that all came together that just really made this a very stunning image for me.
No, I agree.
And a little unusual too. A little unusual. I'm trying to get a little out of my comfort zone in terms of some of my picks.
Well, you're trying to force me to do it. I'm not going to do it. Chris says that, it's Steve Dillon's brother. That's interesting. Okay.
Oh.
And Marcus says it as well. Bro, Steve. Huh.
There you go.
Well, art historians. Thank you so much. Yep. But I agree, CJ. Zipatones. I don't think I could do it. I'm sure you can lay those out and kind of figure out what you want to use in there. I still don't think I'd feel comfortable enough to ever use it. Well,
and it also goes back to what you're talking, Bill, too, about it going to the traditional craft and going back to some of these older techniques that you're seeing some of these artists, really start to bring forward again. And it's that nostalgia vibe that just hits you right away, because you're seeing these techniques that you saw growing up. And the fact that some of these artists are now going ahead and using that and really getting into the piece and into the overall craft. And, again, you can't do this digitally. I'm sure there are some people out there that would argue with me, but I just would argue that you can't get this actual look digital. You have to actually do it traditionally.
No, I agree. Yeah, look at that. Thanks for the detailed scans, Daniel Ashton. This is it's nice to see these. Very cool.
Yeah,
very, very cool.
Piece.
And not enough views. Only 13 views on this thing. This thing's been on the site for a week. Everybody, get in there and look at it.
Hopefully that'll change as of tonight.
That's criminal. Two of them were Eric and I. Come on. All right, let's get my like on this one. So who's calf gallery? Okay, RM, but I know that has their name on there. Oops, I clicked on their name. Shouldn't have done that. Backwards. Here we go. All right, go ahead, Eric.
You go, Petrus. So the first thing about this is it's super impressive to take a look at this and realize there are no shades of gray in this. Everything is either black or white. This could be a woodcut. This could be intaglio. This could be a bunch of different techniques for there. But the amount of detail that has gone into this, and again, I'm a big fan of illustration. I'm a really big fan of, people who have taken the time to master anatomy, to master those aspects. And you look at this, and this has it in spades. Mm-hmm. Everywhere you look on this, I can't see a single flaw. And I love that. I love the kind of take that he's done with Batman here. I love the uniqueness of the ears and the kind of the combination of the cowl into the face, kind of blending it all into one, as opposed to really defining that. And it's just, I can't imagine how long this took to put together, but man, am I glad that he did it.
I agree. It's really, really well executed. Perspective school. Oh yeah, CJ said great form. Yes. but yeah, no, it's fantastic. And again, what's the composition on this is really, really well done.
And you look at it from here, and this is one of those pieces too that I really appreciate, looking at the entire scope of it. And I have to completely remind myself there's no gray in there. It's all either pure black or pure white. And the amount of volume that has been added to this piece without needing that tonal, I don't want to say crutch, but it almost would be a crutch in this case, and still having that. I mean, you can see the volume in Batman's cape. You can see the volume in the guy that's about to get clobbered, the henchman's tie, and his jacket. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. Now, this is okay, so I'm guessing it was a commission, but yeah, no, it's fabulous. I mean, because you look at something like this, and you're thinking the artist is kind of maybe thinking about how it's going to be colored. So maybe that's why they don't do any grays. But he could have really attacked this in any way he wanted to, because
Right.
it was a commission, and he chose to go just with the straight black lines here. I mean, you can see. I mean, the detail in once again, the hands, the gun, the cape, all of it's beautiful. And you can see.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. No, this is a really great piece, and I don't think I'm gonna have to check out. So there's only 18 pieces of art on the site by Hugo. I'll have to I'm not familiar with the work, so I'm gonna have to look.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend checking them out. There's some very interesting work.
All right, moving along here. I got a DPS from Wonder Woman from 2015.
So do you want a chance to slaughter the name, or should I slaughter the name here?
Oh, I didn't even look at the name up. Sorry. Let's see. Miguel Mendonca.
Whatever. Yeah, I'll leave it.
What are you gonna say?
I would have said Mendoza, but I don't know. I mean, someone in the chat. I'm looking to you, Chris, to go ahead and tell me how to pronounce that correctly. But back to the art. I mean, you look at this DPS, and this is just so rich in terms of the detail, in terms of the depth, and the having this pose and capturing both the strength as well as the femininity of these characters is just on. Okay, the last C is a cha. Okay, thank you very much, Robert. But you look at that, and I mean, I'm not a DC guy by any stretch of the imagination, but I mean, this is absolutely gorgeous. You've got Wonder Woman just tackling Cheetah in the jungle. It's just, this is if this isn't on someone's wall framed, it needs to be.
I was looking for somebody to say "Rumble in the Jungle." I thought for sure Marcus would have said that, but yeah, no, I agree. It's really cool. And like you, I'm not a DC guy, but it doesn't matter. Good art is good art, and this is really well done. Dexter Vine inks on this one, really nice. Great composition. The color pieces even here too.
Yeah, and this is one of those ones where I absolutely think that the black and white is better than the color.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, exactly. The vines was going to frame it if it didn't sell, but it did. And you look at the detail in there and the amount of, you look at the individual inking techniques that have done here, and it's just fantastic. And the fact that they've done the cross hatching around Cheetah's leg in order to really highlight it against the shadows. I mean, these are decisions and techniques that are made by people who are at the top of their game.
Well, I mean, this is a piece where I would have liked to have seen the pencil piece first too.
Yeah,
that would have been pretty neat to see how much direction Miguel put in here for Dexter. But yeah, no, great pick, very nice DPS.
And it's just a great action. I mean, when you're talking about a DPS and you're like a DPS, full DPS splash, what about this piece doesn't it have? It has the action, it has the volume, it has the background, it has all of those individual pieces coming together, and it's just killer. It's just a killer piece.
Then I didn't realize this was Robert's piece. Congratulations, Robert. Oh, that's a good one. I have been in Robert's Cap Gallery numerous times. It's got an awesome collection. So when you're cruising through and looking at the detail artworks here from the report tonight, definitely take a look at Robert's Cap Gallery.
Yeah, it's definitely worth your time. And another DC pick for me. So here I'll do my best on this. I think it's Tirso Khan's. But what I love about this is, again, I love illustrative quality, and I love the fact that there's a combination of true comic direction here. But then if you go in tight on the face, and I think that I'm pretty sure that there is a blow up scan of this. That face has some absolute anime qualities to it in terms of just the overall expression. You look at the detail in terms of the hair. You look at the explosions happening around her, and the ground spitting up all around Wonder Woman. Clearly inspired by the movie, which was fantastic. But the use of the color in this is really what highlights it for me. Because you've got you can use those garish colors of like really making like the superhero really stand out, but they've taken and they've muted it to match the rest of the composition of the picture. Mm-hmm. And it's enough to highlight it and really direct you where you need to go. But then on top of it, the anatomy on this it's absolutely perfect. I mean, it's so realistic in terms of the anatomy that a superhero would have. This is just explosive to me. The action on this, I can't stop looking at it. It's just a beautiful image.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny. I was going to say the same thing about the anatomy on this one, because it's weird. I'm drawn to her face initially, and I start thinking it's kind of a little bit. It's not cartoony. Okay. All right. So you said it too. The face is a little cartoony, and then all of a sudden you kind of you take in the whole figure, and everything else is just so incredibly well drawn. I mean, the anatomy's perfect. The tones, the shades on it, the highlight on her right knee to kind of show that it's bent. I mean, everything that's done here is just so it's so perfect. But that first moment, I'm expecting something a little different. I'm expecting something a little more Michael Golden-y, and then all of a sudden it's not. It's this. Yep. It's so well done. So yeah, that's a great pick. This is one of the pieces I looked at as well when I was debating which ones to pick, and I'm glad you picked it because it fell off my top 10.
Well, and some of the great art, the illustrators of the time really did that as well. I mean, you take a look at some of the Norman Rockwell pieces, and you'd have all of this almost photorealistic, and then he would take one or two things and tweak them just a teeny little bit. And it's those little pieces that some people would actually see them as imperfections, but I believe those are the things that actually make the piece. And it is. I mean, that face it's gorgeous. I mean, it's so expertly rendered, but then it's against that hair that is, it's just a completely different juxtaposition of style wow. I mean, to have that level of control, maybe it's a happy little accident to take a Bob Ross thing, but I don't think that it was.
Yeah, no, this is really, really nice. David Frail from Spain. So is the owner of this one. And let me see if there's any more. Oh, well, there's quite a bit of artwork. Yep. Yeah, okay. I'll have to check it out.
Yep.
Not familiar as well.
Definitely someone who's interested in color if you take a look at some of his galleries, for sure.
Cool. All right, let me get this one on here. Sideshow Bob.
I mean, I don't have to say a thing. What's worth saying here? I mean, this is if this isn't a critical image to you, and if you've read comics, then I don't know what to tell you. And whether regardless of any piece of this, I mean, it's just. I still remember this image is burned in my mind from the first time that I read it, and it always will be. I mean, I can still see Batman's speech balloons. I am the Batman. I am the Knight. I am the Law. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, this one had to be in our top 10 as well. I mean, Sideshow's got such a great eye, fantastic collection on calf, but yeah, this one's this is a piece of history right here. So, but yeah, no,
it's a grail beyond grail. And I don't care if it's a color plate. I don't care about any of that. It's the fact that the technique of making this. We could talk about that for hours and hours. And what's the real art versus what's the technique versus what's the production piece of it. At the end of the day, it's a critical image. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And the description that was written up around it too is worth taking the time to read as well.
I will definitely, because I didn't. I saw the artwork. I knew you'd picked it, so I actually didn't bother to read it, but I will. I definitely will. All right, so last pick here is
Saad Ribic.
This is such a nice one.
I mean, Saad Ribic, and again, you taking the Eternals, taking on Thanos, and then the technique, the composition, taking such a chaotic scene and making it almost like a Renaissance painting in terms of the perfect captured motion, the perfect still from this. I mean, I can see the motion before it and I can see the motion after it. And that's something that Assad does so well and so amazingly. The amount of textures that he captures in there, the amount of energy that he brings to this, and the anatomy. Again, you want to talk about a person who's clearly studied life drawing, who's clearly done all of the work to understand how the anatomy should be. It's all on display here. And the use of color and the use of shadow to demonstrate what's happening, it's such a key piece to telling the story of this visually, that it's just stunning. It's just absolutely beautiful.
No, I agree. I like Assad's work a lot, and definitely his color pieces more than his interior pieces, and just because he's got such an eye for color. And I mean, these ones he's been doing the last couple of years are just phenomenal. I got to see a couple of that Anthony had brought with him to the show, but in person, they're gorgeous. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. So this is a great pick. I mean, this probably would have been it was one of the pieces I was considering picking as well. But whose calf was this one in? Oh, Eric Nilsson. Oh, cool.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, it's gorgeous. And the details image, I would actually click on that really quick, because you shouldn't miss. I mean, look at that. Look at the technique that's done by brush. And to have that level of technique, to be able to pull a gradient off at that size, I mean, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And the way that he can use color and like you said, he's such a master of color, in the way that he can use color and light to produce volume and to produce weight. Yeah, no, it's stunning. It's so delicate, the work that he's done here, and yet he's got the dramatic lighting. The shadows are there. I mean, so he's doing a lot of work to put this together. It's fantastic. I love it. So are you going to start with the one that we both?
I could. I probably should, shouldn't I? Let me rearrange my tabs here a little bit before I show this off. But yeah, good 10 picks there, Eric.
Oh, thank you. Just, again, like I love being part of the show. I love having an opportunity to come on and talk about this and bring forward some of this, bring forward and have discussion about art, because at the end of the day, it's the art. And when you see the artists that are performing at this level, I mean, I don't care if it's, and I'm trying to demonstrate that too. I mean, everybody knows I'm a Spider-Man guy. I mean, I'm a Spider-Man guy through and through, but the art is the art, and it can be a DC character. It can be a still life. It could be all of these different things that these artists are just so amazing at capturing, that's what's so stunning to me. And the fact that we've got people working at that level of detail in something that's quote unquote funny books is just, it just blows me away. And it's why I've made the transition into collecting original art. It's why I've made that, it's why I'm so excited to be a part of this community, because all of these people, they get that, they see that, and they do that. And at some point, I'm just going to say this on video so that it's captured. If someone breaks into Tyler's home and steals that Daniel Warren Johnson of Spider-Man and the Juggernaut, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Even though you've been tempted.
Oh, I've daily, nightly.
Oh man. We're never going to get him to do a calf cribs episode. Thanks a lot, Eric. Hey, you told me you were going to do one too.
I am. Yeah. It's planned. It's just I was trying to get my cribs done this week. Work got in the way with the shortened week and everything, so I'm planning on doing it this weekend.
All right, cool. Then we'll have it for the next show.
Yep.
Because I was going to do mine.
I'll do detail of everything that you see behind me.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to take a look at that piece that we had a fight over to see who was going to present it, but I get to present it, but it's co-presented here.
It's your show.
Yeah. So let me get. I haven't liked it yet either. So this is in. Is it really set up as JD? Yes, it is. JD's calf gallery. Look at this. This is unbelievable. Batman the Shadow #4 variant cover. I mean, I knew at the moment I saw the thumbnail how that, this was going to be a pick that I had to have, and it was the only crossover that Eric and I had together. But the depth in this thing, I mean, it's just so gorgeous. I'm kind of speechless looking at it, again, in all the detail. I mean, it's just so, it's everything you'd want. I mean, we talked about Tim Sale a couple times, Chris and I, where it's like sometimes Tim Sale's work doesn't do it for me. But look, this one is so subtle. Instead of like the heavy, like the heavy stark differences between blacks and whites in a normal Tim Sale piece, which we have, right? Here where Batman's kind of in silhouette. You look at how much attention he put to the detail in here. You don't even really see the shadow coming out from the side. I mean, I love this thing. This is like the moment before something bad's going to go down in a second here, and Tim Sale captures it all. Like, you mentioned like a Rockwell Rockwell earlier. This is like a Rockwell moment. It's just like it's capturing that moment right before we're all going to laugh out loud, or somebody's going to get hurt. And Tim Sale just does it all with this piece. It's just and with like these. I mean, look at the little lines on the fire escape ladder.
Exactly.
He's taking so many liberties with geometry, with the environment around there, and making it all work. I mean, I'm dumbfounded when I look at this piece.
It's absolutely gorgeous and dirty at the exact same time. And I love the fact that you said like you don't even see the shadow, because how this entire composition plays with that. It's clear that Batman doesn't see where the shadow is just yet. And how well does that personify the character in terms of the fact that he's right there, both guns out, kind of hidden away. And you get, and then if you scroll up just a little bit above the shadow, he even takes the time to like shoot out the windows and do that with that grimy warehouse scene that we've all seen so much. I mean, we've seen so much, but here it is perfected. And the delicateness of those bricks, you can see the bricks, even though it's like, you can see the smog and the smut that's covering all of it. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, no, I'm like losing my voice thinking about it. It's just, it really is, just an amazing piece. I mean, I'm very jealous, but it's great to see it. I mean, and it's a wonderful size scan for you to really dive into it and look at it in more detail. Like you said, the bricks, I thought about those too, because like behind the shadow, I mean, he's just kind of hinting at them there. Even around them, they're kind of smudgy. They're not even defined really well, but it just, God, I mean, I love it. I love everything about this piece right here. It's just, all right. The shadow literally, says Rick Welch. All right. Yeah. Well, JD, nice pickup there.
Well, and the last thing, how is that a variant cover as opposed to the cover?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to go and look at. They should. Yeah. Did he show like? No. So it doesn't show anything. Not even the printed version. But yeah. I mean, it's curious, right? What did the published version look like? But I don't know. But you look at something like this, and it's like the characters are kind of small. Is this something that a publisher would look at it and say, "This is what I want on the cover"? There's this brilliant, light,
editors.
Exactly. But at least it made its way to a variant cover.
Exactly.
All right. So I just teased this piece here. Another Matthew Allison piece, and we didn't coordinate this, everybody, but Allison's one of my, again, he's one of my favorites. We talked about it earlier. Let's see. I want to make sure that I credit Tyler T. I thought it was Tyler T's, but now I have. Yeah. So this is just, I mean, look, it's gorgeous. I mean, you got to go in and look at the detail. It's the same reason why we spoke about Allison's work earlier. I mean, he's taking a composition that's already in existence. So he's, it's a cover recreation. He's keeping pretty much in line with the way the figures are posed. But then he puts his just crazy, hyper detailed style into Wolverine, and it's not like Sam Keith anymore, right? I mean, it's Allison and the ripples in his shoulder muscles. I mean, man, this thing is just crazy good. And Tyler, I'm very jealous. This is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler has got an amazing eye, and I mean, he was generous enough to bring some of those works to Heroes and let me, you know, just pour over his portfolio and let other people pour over it too. And I mean, Tyler, he's got it. He knows what he's collecting, and he's got just some amazing pieces.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I don't think I got to look at anything that Tyler brought. How'd that happen?
He brought the Daniel Warren Johnson Spider-Man Juggernaut.
Man, I don't know. I must not have been in the room at the time. But yeah, wow. No, this is great. This thing is gorgeous. So
It is.
And here, Wes had a question kind of related to the last piece. Is a variant cover OA worth less than a non-variant? I mean, I don't know. I guess it all depends on who the artist on the variant was, right? I think in some cases you can get the variants to be worth as much or more in some cases. You know, a lot of publishers, of course, do a lot of variants. I mean, Nick Baruch, you could talk a bit about that too, because I mean they tend to have a few variants on a lot of the different covers that they do. But with the way comic shops are pushing out variants, I mean, I've seen, you know, a variant cover on a new book sell for $2,500-$3,500, and at the same price as the published version, you know, of the number one goes for. So I don't think there's, you know, you might look at it and say there should be a discrepancy there. But if you have Daniel Warren Johnson drawing a variant cover for anything, it's probably going to go for double what the published one went for, unless Ryan Stegman was drawing it, you know, or something like that. You know what I mean? So
or Bagley was drawing it.
Right, exactly. So it's really hard to say. I think the creator plays a big role in that. But you know, I remember when Eddie Choi was doing a lot of, you know, when he was in charge of that kind of stuff for DC, he was handling all the variant cover picks and matching artists up with, you know, with comic shops and whoever was looking to get variants. And, you know, he was always trying to find like home run hitters for the variant covers too, because they wanted them to sell. I mean, those comic shops are paying a lot of money to get these variants printed. So you don't want to get some, you know, some run of the mill artists doing a variant cover. So yeah, I don't think, I think the artist matters more than anything in the variant cover prices. But yeah, to me, they're at the end of the day, they're just as valuable because again, it's a work of art. How can you really place a value and say I don't like that one because it's was the variant for you know, Joe's comic shop. So see, and I wasn't looking at the chat, but Nick agrees with me. All kidding aside, it depends on the artist. There. All right. Hey, we're in agreement. That sounds good. All right. So next up, everybody knows I love John Byrne and Uncanny X-Men. And this is like one of those pages I mean, you know, I have flashbacks to reading this as everybody knows. I always said I started on issue like 129, 128. So I read this after it was published. But I look at this page today, and it's, you know, it's so reminiscent of kind of a Neil Adams kind of break the page layout, you know, break the panel, traditional panel structure. Yeah. But he, you know, kind of thing approach to it. But I'd always just love this one. You know, it's portraying this dramatic moment where Storm's trying to catch the villain, you know, and can't, you know, because she ends up getting hit by debris coming down. But just I don't know. I mean, I've always loved this page, and because you know, there's great storytelling in there, and the hero doesn't make the grab. You know, in this particular case, you don't really care so much at the moment because, you know, whom it was or whatever. But again, just a beautiful page by Byrne here.
Yeah, Byrne's just a master. I mean, clearly, no one can argue that. And so many techniques there in order to, you know, draw your eye and keep it into the page. I mean, you've got the diagonals coming down. You go into that last panel, and then you've got that coil coming back up. I mean, it starts to create some of those spirals that really keep you directly into the page and kind of walking through it again and again in case because we all do, we miss details the first 2-3 times around. It's a beautiful pick. It's a beautiful pick, Bill.
Thanks. And AFG, she did get hit by debris in that fourth panel. So, and I know what you mean. I mean, trust me, I'm an X-Men fan. I know the claustrophobic thing, but you can see the things were coming down around her and she got hit. And that was when she breaks off, trying to get him and leaves. So you're right. But yeah, no, I love this. And this was, I always talk about like the burn pages that I got to own when I was able to afford them, were always from the mid 20s to the mid 30s. I never got to own anything from like this period, and I always wanted to get a piece. There was just something in those like first 12 issues that Byrne did that were just, his style was just a little bit more soft and different, and I always liked it. It was just something, because if you compare that to his later work, especially like Wendigo and whatnot, those issues, it's just everything's so super tight, beautiful, but different than this kind of early phase of his work on X-Men. So next up, Jim Lee, Scott Williams, Batman page. I mean, I always say I'm not the biggest Lee fan and everything, but I thought this was just a gorgeous page. I mean, I love Lee Williams together. I mean, they're just a great pair. But I love the architecture behind the characters. I love the lighting on Superman in this piece. I mean, I look at it, it's gorgeous. I mean, I don't say that a lot when I look at Jim's work, but I look at this one and I like every aspect to this drawing. I mean, it's very light and delicate. Even though Superman is kind of like the only thing here that is heavily rendered in it. But man, this I would love to own this page just for the fact that I see nothing wrong with it. It's so well done.
I mean, Jim Lee. I mean, come on, Jim Lee's Jim Lee. And him doing Poison Ivy with Superman here, it's beautiful. And like you said, the difference of the rendering and the contrast between the two characters throughout all of those panels completely keeps that continuity going, and really is. I mean, it's Jim Lee.
Yep. Nope. 2 thumbs up on this one. That's a great pickup. And Olivier D. All right, congratulations.
And Michael says, I think we would all love to own this page. And I think if we all pooled our money together, we might be able to own that page.
Right. Well, we all know where the Jim Lee market is these days. And hey, West, I picked this piece from your calf gallery. Always one of my favorite Marvel team up covers. So this is like a nostalgic pick for me. It's for Mita Jr. and Bob Wycheck. I love Bob's inking throughout Marvel. I mean, I think he's kind of an unsung hero. He's did a lot of amazing work for Marvel over the years. But I always love the dramatic lighting on this piece. I mean, it's Dazzler's all about light. So when you get the harsh light on the characters, these heavy silhouettes. I mean, this was just like to me like the perfect cover. And it's just amazing. And again, it's more of a nostalgic pick, but artistically, it's the period of heavy action lines and all that stuff. And it's great. So 2 smiley faces there, West. You should smile at least 2 or 3 times whenever you look at this piece, because it is fantastic. I'm very envious to see this in your calf gallery.
I got super close to picking this one as well, but I was like, okay, I've got to index off of the Spider-Man just a little bit. But I mean, everything you said is it's right on there, and this to me is just a pure nostalgia. Hits me right in the gut. It's beautiful.
Yep. So congratulations, West, on this one. This is a keeper right here. I'd hold on to that one for a very long time.
Or maybe don't and sell it to me really cheap. Either one of those two, Wes.
Right. All right, switching over to Duke Fleed. Duke's been posting some Boltons lately. So this one was from Aliens versus Predator, Deadliest of Species, issue 5. I've always liked Bolton's work, and because a lot of painted work, kind of gritty approach to stuff. But I look at the figure here. Her face is so soft, against this harsh, the alien figure and the machinery underneath her. But so I just love this piece. I love the color choices on it. I love the highlights on the alien. I again, just as a full painted piece, I see nothing wrong with this. I want to go back to the smaller image so I can kind of see it in its entirety. But yeah, no, I love this. So this is a great addition to Duke's calf gallery and collection.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Oh, here I want to. Never looked at that. Oh, let's see. They kind of cropped it a little bit,
But
But
they stay true to the color palette, which is nice too, because often in these cases they'll go ahead and they'll really ramp up the contrast, or they'll really change the saturation on it, and they stayed really, really true to it.
Yeah, they really did. That's good. Nope. But this is a keeper. I mean, Duke's been posting a lot of great artwork of late. So if you haven't checked out his calf gallery in a while, please do. And then this piece, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a issue 60 painted cover. I've always liked Dave's work, and just because he has a very sketchy approach to his inking, which I always think is cool. And the thing is, I actually know his brother. When I first met Maureen, he knew Maureen, and then so we'd hang out and have beers and stuff. So I thought it was always cool that his brother ended up becoming published comic artist. So for me, I've always wanted to feature something by him, and I saw this piece and I'm like, this is a piece, because it's in color. I knew it would make a good image on our show thumbnail, but I just love it. I love the dynamic, putting the four characters together. Their weapons are kind of helping just kind of bring you around visually in this fight scene, and it's perfect. I mean, I think he's rep by Cadence, so if you've probably seen his work out there, but I would definitely, if you're not familiar with him, you should check it out, because I can't even call him an up and coming talent anymore, because he's been doing work for 4 or 5 or 6 years now. But yeah, I just love this cover.
Well, and I love that he blends the both worlds too. He takes the very cartoony side of giving them all their own individual colored masks, but then he brings it back to Eastman and Laird. You go back and you look at those books, and at the time they were incredibly violent for that, and they weren't like cowabunga and pizza. I mean, it was a very, very, very different Ninja Turtle world there, and it's really well captured here. And he also really does he does all of that foreshortening of the limbs with it as well. That really brings it back to much more of an more of a, I guess you could say, a mutant turtle anatomy, but it really captures that. He blends the anamorphic human and animal piece very well.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, this is a great one, and it's in Paul P's calf gallery. So Paul, he seems to be like a 90s guy, but we've talked about him a few times, picking up more current stuff. A lot like when we were talking about that same thing with Dave Mandel a couple nights ago.
I would argue that this is more of a 90s. I'd say this is more of a 90s nostalgia piece.
Okay, you're right. Well, then that's probably his tie to it. But I mean, he's picking up a modern piece. You know what I mean? So yeah, it shows we as collectors, can have a lot of flexibility in our.
We can grow.
Yes, we can. Yes,
I can't, but other people can.
You just keep getting those tattoos, Eric. That's all. You get it. You fill up that sleeve.
I will.
Maureen definitely said I can't have a sleeve. So
Bill, we don't want to go down this rabbit hole right now, because I'm still really hurt from this, and we're gonna move on.
All right, moving right along. We've got 3 more pieces to look at here. Oh, I didn't actually get that. There we go. All right. So next up, Mark Buckingham, Miracle Man, book 4.
This was almost on my list as well, because I'll let you speak, but man,
I know. It's gorgeous, and it's so simple. I mean, the blacks in here are used. I say it's simple, okay, but it's just a gorgeous layout. It's a beautiful piece. I love the fact that there's not a whole lot of detail in the background, and just that. I'm assuming sunrise, sunset. I don't know, but the bottom line is the composition on this thing just is what hooked me on it. It's so perfect, and I've always been a fan of Buckingham's work, and I haven't featured too many pieces by him in the past. So this one was like a no-brainer for me. But you talk about this one, Eric.
Well, so what really struck me on this is the fact that it's really highlighting the primary colors, and this is harkening back to like really old school printing techniques. Now, granted, the background's a little bit different in the fact that there's a lot more variation and a lot more subtle tones in there. But that character right there, the way that it's drawn, the way that it's inked, that could have been done with old school newspaper techniques in terms of going ahead and printing that, and the starkness of Miracle Man and the gargoyle that he's kind of standing on there, in terms of their really, really stark comic contrast to that very fluid, organic background, and the clouds and the sunset. I mean, I see this as sunrise personally, but that's up to everybody's interpretation. And the contrast of those two styles, this just pops out, and it's just so masterfully done. It's beautiful.
Yep. No, I completely agree. Yeah, I really, really like this piece a lot.
Yeah, and CJ Design said, Rocketeer feels very 40s. Exactly. It's going back to using a lot of those older techniques that could have been done to render this, and it's taking away the detail that's not needed. There's no cross hatching here. There's no really, really intricate well, there is intricate ink work, but there's not the cross hatching. There's not all of those techniques. And it just pops. I mean, when you want to talk about an image that pops, there you go.
Well, this is a beauty, and we have the like on it here. This is in Chris K's calf gallery. I haven't been in Chris's calf gallery in a while, but another collector who's got an amazing collection on calf. So if you haven't, look at that. You can see the comments. Perfect. It's perfect. It's spectacular, and had your name all over it, says Amir. But yeah, it is. I mean, and the great thing is when good art or great art like this gets posted, it gets recognized properly. Felix Liu made a comment on it. Lovely, perhaps the representative piece from the game and era to me. So congrats. So yeah, I mean, there's this piece deserved to be in our picks here. Yes,
absolutely.
All right, 2 more pieces to go here. So this is kind of a nostalgic pick for me. It's from Cloak and Dagger 1, Volume 2 from 1985. Rick Leonardi, who we all got to just see if we went to Heroes, and Terry Austin, a great pair. They were just, I mean, this is like some of the best storytelling that was out there, during this period, I think. But the artwork was what always sold it for me. I mean, look at these, the way Leonardi drew Dagger. I mean, she's beautiful, but I mean, just the expressions on the characters. I mean, you contrast her with Cloak. I mean, it just was, the stories were just great. I mean, and I look at this page and I mean, I want to own it. It's, I always felt like these pages were kind of, I mean, they're very nostalgic for a lot of collectors if you were a Marvel reader back in the mid 80s. And just for me, this was when you're reading books back then, it wasn't like you were getting new characters too often that you actually cared about, right? You never cared about the new villain they'd throw in against the Avengers or whatever. And sometimes they'd roll out a new hero character out there. You didn't really care about them. But when Cloak and Dagger came out, you actually really, not only did you care about the characters, but the stories were great and the art was great. And Leonardi and Austin were just the perfect team for this book. So I can tell you why I love their artwork, but I really just love the story. And again, you can talk about the lights and the darks and the way that the images get contrasted a lot when it's Cloak in a panel alone versus Dagger in a panel. But it's awesome.
Yeah, I missed this one. I don't know how I missed this one, and I mean, I absolutely see why you picked it.
I always love because you look at this. This is like kind of this is like heavy cross hatching that goes into here when God, I just love these stories so much, and also very much so. I mean, it was all the subtle stupid stuff that you wouldn't I mean, I look at it and I remember just like with Dagger's hand there, whenever she would be trying to shed add light within Cloak, it was the way they drew it was unlike the way anybody else probably has ever drawn it since then. It's just beautiful, gorgeous. So another piece that I would love to have in my own calf gallery or something similar. Similar. All right, so one last piece, and Zoo or Orzu, and this is Something is Killing the Children 21 cover study. It says prelim. But I've always liked her work. I mean, repped by Kirby's, of course, but just really nice, delicate work in this prelim. I mean, I don't pick prelims too often, but I've always been a fan of her work. I like the layout on this one. I think that I see this and it's like it's almost so close it could be a published. I mean, it's very very light. You can tell she's just they're having a lot of fun with the way they're using the brush here, and I just really like this piece a great deal.
Yeah, I mean the control that they've got there, and where they want to go ahead and put detail versus where they want it to be clean, where they want it to be organic versus where they want it to be stark. I mean, I was surprised that this was a prelim. I mean, how far do you go with a prelim before it becomes a cover? How far do you need to go with it? I mean, you look at the detail in terms of that eye. Who takes the time to put that level of smokiness around the eye in terms of for a prelim, and put that level of delicate features into the face, and having the contour in the neck, and it's hard to say that again, I'd say where's the line between prelim and cover on this?
No, I agree. It's like that Dazunaga cover, lots of detail in it, but this is painted. I mean, in a weird way, and maybe that's what helps us help me think it was a finished published piece initially when I first looked at it, because I thought, wow, it's an interesting take, and because I thought, wow, it's so loose, but it's so well done, and then I realized it was a prelim because I hadn't read it yet. But yeah, great piece. And who's calf gallery?
An amazing anatomy too. I mean, clearly someone who's done their time, done the hours in life drawing. They get that the foreshortening of that forearm as the hand, kind of the wrist bends in terms of being able to hold the sword or the katana, whatever that is. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. This is a really nice one. So, and it's in Jason K's calf. Another, again, I think everybody, we always feature great calf galleries. Everybody who has a calf gallery, it has a great calf gallery. And I should always remind people that I met a couple guys at Hero, Heroes a couple weekends ago, and in talking with them, they're newer collectors, and they said, well, I've only got like 5 or 6 pieces. Each of them said that, and they're like, I didn't want to start one until I had more. And I'm like, you got to do it. I mean, he's like, well, I figure people think less of me because I don't have a lot of art. And I'm like, nobody's going to think less of you. I said, you're going to post that artwork. I guarantee you're going to get some comments. People are going to like what this, the artwork that you got. And that's, you got to start somewhere, because nobody's going to get to know you, because they came, it was so funny. Like the one guy came up to me and he's like, oh, my friend Adam's going to be so jealous that I ran into you. He goes, we watch your shows all the time. I'm like, so what's your name on Cap? And he said, oh, we don't post on Cap yet, because and I explained why. And I'm like, well, you got to do it. You really, you should go tell your friend Adam that he's got to do it too. And they both did. But it was funny because he's like, here, we're going to take a selfie. So he took a selfie and then he ran. And then like 5 minutes later, he came back with Adam, and Adam had to take a selfie too. But they both started calf galleries. And so, it's true. I mean, I think a lot of people are hesitant to kind of throw their art collections out there for us to look at, because they think everybody has to have like A+ pieces. I mean, most collectors never get to have an A+ piece in their calf gallery, something that they've spent over $10,000 on. It's not like that. Calf was built for people who like con sketches. I mean, honestly, that was one of the big reasons Calf was built, was because, like, gosh, there's all these great con sketches that happen and nobody's showing them off anywhere because they just feel it's not worth the effort to do it. And that was one of the many reasons why I wanted to build Calf back in the day. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that argument too, and I'll be honest, I felt that in the very beginning too. But you take a look at what's out there. There's always going to be someone who has more art than you, and there's always going to be someone who has less than you. Who cares? Put up what you have. I mean, it's the other piece about it too is the community is so welcoming. The community is so inviting, and we share. I mean, we show what's out there. I love seeing con sketches. I love seeing commissions. I mean, I still love getting commissions. I've got a couple. I just saw the finished one of one that I got, and I can't wait to go ahead and share it and bring it forward, because it's not a published piece, but it's something that is it's a great representation of characters. It's a great composition. It's a great piece of art. It's something I want to be able to share with others. And we can't all be like going into each other's homes and looking at this art on the walls. and or going through each other's portfolios. And so CAF is such a great place for that for a place for us to be able to do that.
That's true. And hey, I'm going to show off something here because it's something I always forget about, and I shouldn't. But when Marcus said you should feature a new CAF member every week, and you're right, we probably should. So let's take a look at this thing here. When you browse to just the CAF galleries by Alpha, there's these couple extra links over here. So first, I mean, why don't we even just look at today's CAF anniversaries? Who, here's 37 CAF members started their CAF gallery on this date. And they're ordered oldest to youngest here, or most current. But so Alec Kastner, Paul Rezgawi, and Steve Rubin, premium members, Jimmy Willis, and but it lists them, lists everybody out whose anniversaries here. But I always forget that I made this other page. It's not even linked here. This is how hard it is. This is why CAF needs a facelift. So all these things are easier to get to. Welcome our new gallery owners. I actually, years ago, I thought of doing this, and then I never have talked about it since the day I probably had Maureen program it. But you can see 19 new CAF galleries in the past month. And I know that this Chris Barcombe is the guy that I spoke to at Hero. And if I click on his CAF gallery, so we're going to show stuff off from Chris here. So yeah, look, I mean, that was picked up at Hero. A coaster. So there you go. So he's got some color guides. He's got 3 pieces he picked up at Heroes Con, and it's all good, man. You got to have a start somewhere.
Yeah, it's
so,
fantastic.
And so he's looking like he's working on a jam piece for a sketch cover. That's unique. I mean, I can't say I've seen a jam on a sketch cover before. I mean, they're probably on CAF. I've not noticed one before, but it's cool. So yeah, there you go. I'm going to have to check this page out more often, and I should probably at least once a month kind of go back here, because then it at least highlights the people who've started their CAF galleries every month. So maybe like the first CAF update of the month, I'll pop over to here, and we'll remind ourselves that there are new collectors who are posting the CAF, and we should definitely check them out. We shouldn't ignore them. We should encourage them to get their own avatars too. Lots of faceless collectors here on the 30-day list. But yeah, there you go. So this is having these kind of conversations, Eric, either remind me of things that I've done and forgotten about, or things that I wanted to do and forgot I wanted to do them. So
yeah, I mean that what website doesn't have something like that, where they we built this feature and now we forgot about it, or we've moved forward with
right,
because users are using something completely different. But yeah, I mean, that happens. But I love the idea. I love the fact that I love looking at individuals, and there's the artists that I follow. I watch their galleries, and anytime that they're posting something, I'm immediately checking it out. But I'm still going through the new art all the time. I mean, almost daily in terms of taking a look at that, because the amount of just the volume of things that are being posted, there's just so many. It's you could look at it as a chore to go ahead and pick 10 picks and go through a week's worth of art. But I absolutely love it, because you get to go more in depth, and you get to see all of that art. And it's if you love the hobby and you love the art, it's fantastic.
I agree. And Michael Callahan says, my wife and I signed up this year after being longtime lurkers. I think this channel motivated us to finally put up CAF gallery. That's good. I mean, I really do feel like the work that we've done on the channel has been a benefit to the hobby. The work that Nick does over on the EXP. I mean, I think anything out there that's promoting the hobby is good, and it should encourage everybody to share when they're comfortable. I mean, a lot of people don't like to share their collections, and that's okay too. But I think I really do feel like we've done some good the last couple of years, and there's a lot more work to be done. I'm sure Nick would agree. But yeah, no, this is great. I'm glad I remembered that page being in existence, because I was certain when you were talking about it, I'm like, I think there's something like that.
I'm sure there's a couple more gems out there that you just need, the right trigger in order to remember.
Yeah. Well, kind of like the icons that you made for me that I haven't activated on the site yet. That's a gem that Maureen programmed. You made the graphics, and I haven't.
Maybe I think I've heard a couple rumors about you moving, or a couple things that are going on with your life. So
yeah, but that doesn't. I've really got to do
it. It does excuse it.
We are doing a lot of discussions on CAF and CAF's future, and the redesign that we keep thinking we want to do. And the thing is, at some point, I'm going to have to put a freeze on programming, right, and making updates to the site. And it would be criminal if I didn't get that stuff rolled out before we put a freeze on it, because then I probably would forget all the work that you did and Maureen did to make it happen. So I've got to get it done. It's not going to happen tomorrow because I'm packing the U-Haul tomorrow. But
got a long drive ahead of you.
Yeah, I do. But I've got to get it done before we get to that point.
Yes, and Chuck in the comments, we've got to set up that Discord server.
I would agree. I've been I haven't not wanted to do it. I've been watching my kids on Discord all the time. And I think it's actually it's a neat thing. I'm gonna, but the thing is, I don't know anything about Discord. I watch my kids and doing different things. They've got for every group that they're a part of. There's a Discord channel, and they're all kicking things around all day long. So, all right, Chuck, you're pushing me in new territory. I'm a little uncomfortable, but I'm definitely going to consider it. But the thing is, for me, I want to do that. I really want to. I've been kind of in a freeze, like everybody knows, like with organizing new guests and everything throughout the summer. So I really feel like once we're down in Florida, Maureen and I are able to kind of just settle into things. Like by September, that's when I feel like I can kind of like put a lot more energy into all these things that we're talking about. And okay, it will be a blast in the next level. All right, Chuck, you got me, man. You got me. All right, Eric. Well, thank you for your 10 picks as always. Yeah, and
thanks for having me. As always a pleasure to be on. Always a pleasure to be on.
Well, it was great getting to meet you in person at Heroes. We had a blast. I think you were the first person that screamed my name when I walked in at the.
I definitely was one of them. I definitely was one of them. I remember you walking into to the arcade, and I just shouted it across the entire arcade, and I like 20 necks snapped as they heard me because I could be a little loud.
Yeah, that was a good time, man. That really was a lot of fun. But and so I'll consider a tattoo at some point in the future. We'll talk with Maureen, or maybe we won't tell her about it.
I'm just gonna tell you, Bill. When I was in college, I drew a lot of flash art for a tattoo shop. It's one of the ways I paid my rent. So
all right. I'll think about it. All right, man. Well, and have a great night. And I appreciate you doing this. And again, you're welcome back anytime you want to do 10 picks with me.
Fantastic. I'll definitely be back.
All right, Eric. Have a good evening, and we'll chat again soon.
All right. Bye, Bill. Bye, gallery.
All right. That was good times. I see. Having Eric on, he's got an eye, like a different eye than Chris, but both guys with a deep artistic background. So I love bringing both of them on, because they both are always kind of looking at things a lot differently than I do. So I appreciate them both. Larry's Larry did some picks. He hasn't done any in a while. Larry, if you ever want to come back, you're welcome. And then anybody else, you can just let me know that you'd like to be on the show, and we can work you into the schedule. Chris is my regular, of course, but we tried to. Our goal when we first started doing it was that the first Thursday of every month we were going to have someone doing guest picks. So if anybody else is ever interested in doing that, please let me know, and we will. I'll be happy to work you into the schedule. So David Ascani-san, I'm not sure why the rank isn't working. Oh, I guess it is working for some people. I see Michael Callahan's got his rank working, but sometimes the bot doesn't respond right away. I've never quite understood that, but I'll have to look into it. So anyway, I got to wrap things up because I've got packing to do, and I've got a U-Haul to pack all day tomorrow. So and I'm driving it all by myself all the way down to Florida because Maureen and the kids are going to stay up here and keep packing. So I'm going to go down there, and Emma's at the end of her. I think I've told you guys she's doing a summer program at Ringling in Sarasota, Florida. So her summer school ends next Friday. So I'm going to drive down there, and I'll be there for a week, and I'll pick Emma up, and her and I'll fly back to Ohio probably Sunday or Monday. But the next 5 shows that I do will all be down in Florida. So Sunday through Thursday. Every night at 9 p.m. you'll get to see me again, and I'll be streaming live from my home in Florida. So I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and it's been great doing another CAF update with you all. And again, I'll see you on Sunday night with Jeff Wedding and our first CAF University stream. I hope many of you can tune in, and I'll see you then. Have a good night.
Everybody, Friday, July 8th, 7 p.m.
Wait a minute. That was not the one. I'm not giving Nick a second one. I was wanting to click this one. Now I'll say goodnight.